Well, every once in a while, the Brewery Underground Podcast, we go on the road, and today we are in East Nashville. Scott Touron, this is a really, really, really big deal today, what we're doing, all right?
Something unique, something we haven't done before.
Yep.
We mostly do these on Teams. We've done remotes where we've gone to breweries.
We have.
We are actually in a professional studio.
A professional studio.
Yes. Hey, thanks for Tyler having us over here. Or Taylor. Thanks for Taylor having us over here,
Thank you,
Tyler.
That's right. And the guy on the mic.
And we've got a
hearing,
guest.
Yeah, the guy on the
we're
mic
not here
you're
just by
hearing.
ourselves.
We have singer-songwriter Tyler Boone, who you also know as, he's got Boone's Bourbon. You're like Mr. Entrepreneur. You do everything. You're like a Renaissance man, aren't you?
I'm just trying to pay off my student loans, dude. Couldn't get a job, so.
Well, it is indeed a pleasure. I know Scott has met you a couple of times, and this is my first chance of meeting you today, but we're really excited to get you on. And, one thing that we do, we always start the podcast, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we've got some beer in front of us, and I'll tell you what, it's really timely because, it's Boone's Beer, which was just released recently.
What a coincidence.
Right? Yeah.
What a coincidence. You just happen to have it here, huh?
You guys want to crack one?
Let's crack one.
crack 'em.
It's nice and cold.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it cold.
It's called Homegrown Boone's Beer.
Cheers.
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 Taylor's got one over there.
Oh, shit.
Cheers. Oh, yeah. We made sure he was hooked up. Let's get a little.
All over his keyboard.
Let's do that. Cheers.
All right.
I've had this once already. This is Steve's first time having it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Taylor, it might be yours.
You got it at Frugal.
I got it at Frugal McDougal's.
Okay, cool.
Both times.
Nice.
As a matter of fact, I went back today and got another 4-pack. I was running a little low. I'd given most of mine away.
Nice.
We drank some.
Do you know Eric over there, the buyer?
I don't know Eric.
He's the beer buyer. Anyway,
Really?
Man, Frugal McDougal, I friggin' love those guys. There's a Frugal McDougal in Rock Hill, because North Carolina's a control state, so everyone gets their booze in Rock Hill. They drive down there from Charlotte and go back. And so there's the original Frugal McDougal's there, and I'm from South Carolina. That's where this all started.
Yep.
And so they all sell all of it, but the Frugal here, I mean, it's the Nashville one.
Yeah.
So every local brand or brand that just gets distribution in Nashville, they're gunning for that store. Dude, they support the living shit out of us. They all wear Boone's t-shirts.
That's great.
Obviously, they've had this one for a long time. The single barrel, they didn't even taste it. They brought it in. And when I had this, I was like, man, beer's so competitive in Nashville.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not going to take it. And I just showed up, and Eric goes, I don't need to taste it. I'll bring it in. I was like, oh, my God. So, and it made Lippman go, oh. That's our distributor, Lippman Brothers. The green trucks, have you ever seen them?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, well, thanks for buying it. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're like, selling beer stuff is easy, huh?
Dude, I think the beer's going to be bigger than the bourbon.
Yeah.
Because everyone will try a beer.
They will. It's it's quickly consumed kind of thing. You can get them, you can share them, but this lasts longer. But
Yeah, people sip on that.
absolutely, which is, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was going to say, so the beer is a Pilsner.
Yes.
Yes, the American
And-
Pilsner, yep.
Yeah, definitely. And so I'm really curious as to how long has this been in the planning stages for you to finally get this beer out?
So actually, it's funny enough. It happened I was like, oh, cool, we're doing this podcast. Yesterday, I saw a memory on, memories on Facebook. 6 years ago, yesterday, we started the idea of it. Like, got the label, and the label's changed a little bit over time. The label used to look really similar to that, and then it changed into this, where it's got, this looks like the single barrel. I'm not sure if you had the single barrel. It's got the doggy on it.
Okay.
And so that's our wiener dog from growing up.
Nice.
And then it's a Palmetto from Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
Homegrown, very southern. Well, I used to do a lot of stuff with like Hootie growing up. I was fortunate to open up from a lot when I was like in college. And so they always said homegrown. And I thought, that sounds pretty southern. And so that's where it came from. But 3 years ago, we actually launched it. And so it's been out for 3 years, but entrepreneur stuff. We had a bad business co-packer who we're actually still in legal battles with, and we're gonna win. But,
Yeah.
But they're so screwed. But they tried to get involved, and they kind of ruined it. And it was with Holy City Brewery. And so the beauty of it was Holy City Brewery is the biggest brewery in South Carolina. I know the owner, and he was like, dude, let's do a collab with Boone's Bourbon because you guys are kicking butt. He made us the recipe, and so I didn't have to hire anybody. He just goes, I'm going to make it for you. And it first came out with Holy City, and then we had to stop it because it got all weird with that ex-co-packer, and we're all cool with Holy City. They're like, hey, man, you know what? We're going to stop it because it's a little weird with this person, but how about you keep the recipe for free? And we're like, what? No way. And so then we had another brewery called Tradesman in Charleston. they just weren't doing well. And dude, I would never start a brewery or a distillery unless I was rich, because it's so much money to keep the lights on.
Sure.
And so now we're with Columbia Craft Brewing Company, Peak Drift.
Yep. Which is on the can. Yep.
So Peak Drift is just like Bardstown, where we do a single barrel, just a massive facility where everyone's making their beer out of there.
Yeah.
Because they can make it the price point cheaper, and you just be more competitive. And so it's in Columbia, South Carolina. They own Columbia Craft Brewing Company. That's their brand. But Peak Drift, that does like Island Coastal Lager. They're from Charleston.
Okay.
It's my buddy Scotty Hansen. That's his brand. And they do, High Rise, the CBD, THC.
Yeah.
They're from Charleston too.
Okay.
So they're just making a lot of stuff. So that's where this is now made out of.
So they're like a contract brewer.
Yeah. But it's our recipe. It's our brand. We just pay them. And honestly, it's the best move we ever did now being with them, because they're so big. It's like, cans aren't that. It went way down once we got to them finally. So
it's great.
Yeah.
It's 5.4%. Really nice ABV on this thing. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Taylor, what do you think?
It is really
It's pretty good, isn't it? Yes.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great Pilsner.
But it took 3 years to kind of get where we're at, because also the biggest thing is distribution. You could have a beer, but if you got Joe Schmoes with a license at the end of the street with a small truck, the bigger stores like, man, I don't want to open up a new contract with a distributor. Just go get the big guys. And you're like, oh my God, I'm trying. And so now that Littman picked it up in Nashville, that's why you see it everywhere now, because they're awesome.
How does that happen? Like, do you interview distributors and talk to them, and or just kind of see who's interested?
You email the hell out of them. Yeah. Go, please respond. And sometimes it's like boom, and sometimes it's like, it's the bigger distributor. Sometimes it's corporate-ish, or it is corporate, and they go, hey man, fiscal year's next year at this time, and you might miss the deadline, and you're like, shit, I gotta wait. And so in South Carolina, we had a distributor that was statewide called Holy City Distribution, and they were stealing money from everybody, including us. And so they went under. And so then we were only distributing in South Carolina and Rock Hill. Well, I'm sure you know this. Beer is different than spirits. Spirits is usually statewide, depending on the state. Tennessee, it's not, but we opted in for Littman to take the whole state for us, but because it's in section, it's a franchise state. But in South Carolina, it's just one, right? And so for spirits, but for beer, it's every section.
Yeah.
And so for a minute, we were just with, it's called, oh my God, why am I having a brain fart? Who's our distributor in Rock Hill? They're the biggest ones. Comer. And they're the Miller House. And so that's big deal for us, because every time I go to Rock Hill, it's like we're a rock star, because I'll walk in, hey, I'm the owner, I just want to meet you. And they go, oh, we've had this for, I'm like, whoa. So distribution's a really important thing, but, not to get so much on distribution, but RNDC is who we have in South Carolina. RNDC is like one of the biggest ones in the country. They're now getting gutted. And, Reyes is a big beer distributor. They just ended California. They took Brown Forman from them. They took Tito's from them, which is Jack Daniels and all this stuff. And so
huge.
RNDC is now leaving California. They just announced yesterday, September 1st. So it's just a cutthroat game. Distribution, you could be killing it, and the next thing you know, they might lose their biggest contract, and then you were a part of that, and they go, hey, we're out of business. See you later. It's a wild thing. And it's a 3-tier system, so the money goes 3 times. And so sometimes the brand always gets screwed, because the money's still coming to you, and maybe all of a sudden, maybe the account didn't pay for it, the beer store, and then you don't get your money.
Sure.
It's wild. So.
Well, saw you posted pictures on Instagram of your beer at, you said, got it at Frugal McDougal's. I'm assuming you went in there, you probably looked around like, how much exciting was that for you, being in Nashville, and you walk in there and like, I see my beer.
I went 3
it's in
times.
Nashville.
I was like, I kept walking there. I'm like, shit, it's not here yet. And so it took the 3rd time. I was like, yes, it's finally here.
Yeah.
But I was getting sad. It's kind of like hitting that little section right there.
It's.
And I was like, yeah, it's not here. Oh, there it is. Thank God. So
when I went the first time, it was last week, and I'm walking through, and you said it was there, and I was like, shit, they're sold out, or I can't find it, or something. So I wandered, and I go. And hence the little video I made. I don't know if you saw. I was there it is.
He's got like, I think like 4 cases always at one time.
Yes.
But I mean, I want to get the kegs in there. Kegs are cool. And you were talking about a really cool tap house or something.
Yeah, so Deep South Growler, they have 2 locations, one in Murfreesboro and one in Lenox Village. They're local to me. Like, I can walk to their place.
That's cool.
And they do kegs, so I mentioned it to them. The Hoppin' River North place down on the river right there that's got 60 taps.
They followed us on Instagram today.
Did they? Okay.
Nice.
I sent them a text and said, "Hey guys, just
yes.
at least create a demand or something. Maybe if you don't have kegs yet, ask for them." And then Littman pays attention, and
totally.
They're seeing that. So
my buddy Kevin Lilly, who runs Fog Street, where we met at that big party, Taylor was there too. It was snowing. I've known him for years. He's owned a big brewery. He owns a piece of, I believe, a Nashville beer, but he's owned Brothers Brewery, did like 311 Hootie and all that. He told me a good like quote to remember. He goes, man, no matter what you're doing, if you're stressed out, if the account wants it, that's gold. Because you can be like, oh man, no, my distributor hates me, but if you can get the account to go, I want it, then the account goes, wait, what? Okay, sure. So yeah, if I can get the account to love you, that's a big deal.
That's it. Because I know talking to them, the owners of Deep South Growler, just in general, just regular things, and she's like, yeah, I can call up so and so distributor, and hey, they can see what they have, right?
Yep.
Like, I want that, and they have to give it to them.
Yeah.
So they want it, or ask for it, or demand it, kind of thing, and hopefully raises your demand. And
it does. It's pretty wild, man. You could be a distributor for a long time, and if you're not hitting the road, like if you're not hitting the pavement hard, the reps usually don't, unless you're Jack Daniels or something. I mentioned them earlier. If you're like the big guys, then yeah, because I know it's easy to sell, they're going to do it. You could sit in a distributor for like a year and be like, oh my god, we didn't grow at all. Unless me and my dad used to think that. We're like, oh, we got a distributor, it's over with.
Sure.
And a lot of brands think that, and you're like, no, you have to do it every day.
Yeah.
And then eventually, you start getting fans-ish, and then all of a sudden you can't knock it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when we came out even with this, we had people were hating us online, and then all of a sudden we're like, well, we're selling a ton of it, and then people are like, no, it's good stuff. So I think the last ingredient is time sometimes. You just got to let it naturally.
Sure.
You got to work your ass off, but you got to naturally like let people go, no, I like it.
Yeah.
And then that's cool.
And like you said, you can't let it sit, though, either at that distributor. You've got to be out there in front of it.
A beer expiration date.
Yeah, that's what
This
you're right.
does not.
You're
So
right. That's a good
So you
point.
got to sell this fast.
That's right. You want it fresh.
Yeah, totally. Because people will look at what I've learned and go, oh, it's fresh, man. They'll look at the data, go, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Because what if it's been sitting there forever? And they'll go, oh, this is gross. No one bought it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
And if somebody gets a beer that's old, and we've had these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, this beer sucks.
it's got a whole bunch of yeast in it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tyler, you make a bad beer. It's
Falls
not that,
flat,
man. It's the
yeah.
name. It's been
This
sitting on the
dude
shelf for a year.
sucks.
Oh my gosh.
How dare you make beer?
Yeah. You should leave town, dude. You're not allowed in Nashville.
Yeah, you're not allowed in Nashville. Can art is such an important aspect of any brand. I mean, we've talked to so many brewery owners, whether in this area or whatever, that have talked how meticulous they got to be in trying to figure out, like, the can art.
Yeah.
How many people were involved just in trying to figure out this can art for your beer?
2 people. So, and I'll tell you a funny story about the back of that. So, my friend Shannon Duke made all the Boone's Bourbon stuff, and this has always been what we did. We had like one tweak once. We've changed the back a lot on the bourbon, and now you can actually see it. It's got a guitar pick there. It says BB. It's cool. It's got all the awards on it, and it's got a cool QR code. Whatever. This is fun. This has been changed a little bit now, but the beer, pretty much, it's always been this. We do have a Tennessee Star one. Eventually, I'm going to do. Once we can kind of get more accounts, I'm going to tell them, hey, I don't want to send out a whole bunch of Tennessee beer and it's sitting in South Carolina. But then one day I'm going to take this out. It's already designed. We'll have like the ball with the 3 stars in it.
Yeah.
So eventually we're going to change that. But this right here is a funny story. So my friend Paul Kelmus, Shannon Duke started the beer, and then my friend Paul Kelmus finished it. He wanted, and Charleston's just kind of a hippie, hipster town, like, indie rock, whatever. And so he thought it'd be cool to put a picture of me as a kid. I have a twin brother. I sent the wrong picture in, so that's my twin brother. So did I ever tell you that? Yeah. So
That's great. Does he know it?
Yes, and if he ever pisses me off, I'm like, dude, you're on a beer can.
Yeah.
So that's called your cola. Not like Coca-Cola. It's called your cola. It's like your light. It's what's the term saying? It's like your compliance, to make sure you're not copying anybody. And then it's compliant because people are drinking it, so you have to have all the correct information on it, like the ABV and, please drink responsibly and all that kind of crap. But it's also, you submit it, it takes forever to get through sometimes, depending who you're working with, right? And so if I wanted to ever change that, I'd have to stop production. It would take a year, so forever he'll just live on it because I'm not going to change that. And then that's a good story.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, love it.
That is great. That's a good trivia question too, I think.
Yeah.
So we're down the road.
My parents, I remember I was like, the beer's here like 3 years ago because I've been working my ass off to get it. I brought it to my parents. I go, look, I did it, and they just didn't say anything. And they go, we got to tell. I was like, I already know, I already saw, So
But they knew immediately.
yeah, they knew. That's a picture we have hanging in the house. So
That's fantastic.
yeah.
You've mentioned your dad a couple times.
Yeah.
You're in business with him.
Yep.
For both the bourbon and the beer, right?
Yeah.
And maybe some of the other things. Talk about that, and talk about how great it's got to be able to be working with your dad. And
It is great. I was on the phone right when I pulled up.
Okay.
And so it is great. I started it, and then, but I was a poor musician. And so this is 2015, 16, 17. I was like, I'm trying to start this bourbon. And the bourbon's a story, too. I started that. That's like I had like a big music deal, and I didn't take it, and it kind of led to this. but I didn't really have the full amount of money to start it. But even though I already spent like a whole bunch of money trying to figure it out, my dad's like, hey man, like I'll match your money. We'll do it. And the first run was only for this was 226 cases.
Okay.
6-packs. So we did that. It was only like 10 grand. But I was like, Dad, I can't fully do it. And he goes, I'll put it in there. And so we went 50-50. And so it was a rough start in the beginning because my dad was like chief of ICE, Border Patrol, very like, kind of militaristic and like, you can't talk to me like that. I'm like, no, Dad, I'm just saying click reply on your emails, man. Like that's all. Like I'm not mad at you. And so it took a long time to get that dynamic.
Yeah.
And then we raised some money on Start Engine, where it's
Yes.
like Kickstarter. Which I would never do that again. We can get into that too if you want, but they take like half of that money. But it's
I
really
did
good
buy into that, by the way. That's how I first came across.
Oh, did you invest in it?
The very, very beginning.
Shit!
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I think you did tell me that.
It was COVID, and not to get off the subject, but it was COVID, and I'm just playing around. I'm at home because I'm not.
Did you see an ad or something?
It was Start Engine. I was like, how about small micro investing kind of thing? And I got into Start Engine.
Oh wow!
And I go, bourbon? Hell yes. And it was like $2 a share or something at that time. And I was like, and I got 50, and I was like, I was being cheap, I guess. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing? Let's get some more. So I bought another 50.
Wow.
So I mean, it was like, yeah.
Did you
so
get your certificate?
I got 2 certificates.
Good.
For
Yes, remember my dad signed all of them. The issue with that is that legal battle we're in, which I don't care. I'll talk about it all day. They screwed us and we're in legal battle. So there's a whole bunch of incentives we're supposed to give people, and a lot of people got their stuff, but it just sucks when like a fan goes, hey, where's my T-shirt? Or like, hey man, like it's coming. We've announced it like a million times. It's give us a minute. And so there's some T-shirts and stuff that people still haven't gotten yet. But we got barrels for people and hats, and it was really cool. So that's awesome. I would say this, man. I think it was the best marketing campaign. You know what I mean?
It was cool.
They take a lot of that money, and they really don't tell you that up front.
Yeah.
And so at the end of it, we're like, hey, we raised like $300,000. We could have done like $500K. But then the raise got stopped in the middle of it because the crazy ex-co-packer, they reached out to him, hey, this is our money. We need our money. They're like, wait, there's another owner. And so it freaked out Start Engine.
Okay.
And eventually our lawyers got involved. No, these people are crazy. We're suing them. It was wild.
It was such a cool thing, though. I literally was just sitting on my back porch one day and like, couldn't work.
That's
so
cool.
it was like,
That's how it starts.
And I was like,
Yeah.
And it led to you sitting here today because of it, because we had a conversation kind of, just over about the thing, and then, hey, you want to come on the podcast? By the way, I had already had the bourbon before I even started talking to you. I thought, because I was like, well, I'm an investor in this company. I should go get the bourbon.
Wow.
Delicious. Well, I've already
That's
been through a
killer,
bottle
man.
of it.
I'm blown away.
I'm telling you.
That's so cool.
I'm not just blowing
Well,
smoke.
cheers.
I'm telling
That's
you.
really
Absolutely.
cool.
Cheers, man.
Fuck
we
yeah.
appreciate you.
Well, the goal is we're trying to get a bigger investor to get it to the next level, and then we're trying to sell it. Yeah.
That guy.
There you go.
Bigger
the guy.
investor.
Yeah, always got to think bigger and better. That's right.
It's that guy right there.
Yeah.
Well, we're always talking to investors.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I hate rich people. They get you on the phone and they're like, yeah, totally, and you're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, so it's interesting, but we'll get there. I think it's year 7, man. So I think by year 10 we'll be in a really popular spot.
You've got the notoriety out there, man. That bourbon right there. We'll talk about it.
You've had the bourbon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have some more. As a matter of fact, as we're talking about it, we might as well go ahead and put some in some glasses. What do
Sure.
you think?
May as well.
Oh, these are Uncle Nearest glasses.
Well, I got different ones. I got one of my National Bourbon Society Bellamy. I kind of collect them from different
Oh, very cool.
distilleries I go to.
Who's the guy that runs the Nashville Bourbon Society?
Jay Spicer and Adam Terry are the two guys.
Okay, there's another one with a guy named Sinclair.
That's for Taylor.
Yeah. Well, dig your home.
You're working hard over there.
Yeah.
What are these?
I can't say no to your bourbon, man.
Cheers.
Absolutely not.
Here, you have this one. I have it all the time.
Okay.
Or I'll just drink from the
You
bottle.
just want the bottle?
I could tell you the mash bill on it if you never had it. If you had it before.
I have not. This
He
is
is
my
not.
first. So,
Okay, well
yeah.
this is our cash strength. I feel like I'm doing a tasting right now. Homegrown Boone's bourbon, cash strength. Doing this for 7 years. This is our money maker. Where because the price point, I'll get to that because I think the price point's a science too, and especially with this, like we kept this at a really good one, I think, for the 4-pack.
Yep.
So this 117 proof cash strength bourbon, 75 corn, which is a pretty normal cut, 21 rye, 4 barley. I enjoy rye. I'm not really a big weeded guy. I was obsessed with Bullet Rye in 2015-16, where I was working at Cork Dorks. I was just like
Were you really?
I was just like a box guy. I hated that job, but that store loves us. There's a bear when you walk in there on the wall. But,
Yeah.
But I was like, Bullet Rye, this is cool. But I was like, but if it's a bourbon, it's got to be majority corn. I was like, well, I definitely want rye. And I was going to do 75-25 rye. And then our distiller at the time, the first owner of that distillery before it became that other crazy person, they're like, hey, let's do 4% barley. And so that's where the cut ended on. So you're going to get sweet on the front. Definitely the proof. You're going to hit the proof on the front.
Yeah, but it's good.
But on the back end, it's not going to taste it because we do secondary finish it. 21 rye, a little spice, bar, a little vanilla nutty tone at the end of it. But cheers. You're not going to really take it from the
Cheers.
bottle.
Definitely a rye guy, man.
I love rye. I think
rye.
it's the best in cocktails.
Yep.
Yeah, I love playing around that anywhere from 110 to 120 proof, depending on the whiskey, because some drink hotter than others and some don't. Man, that is really nice. I'm not kidding. That is.
So the secondary aging process, I already told you about it? Mm-mm. So the secondary aging process, it was called the Terra Pure process. It's a proprietary process, been around for like 30 years. It's no longer around because they went out of business, but it was from Charleston, and Bardstown used to own a piece of it at one point, and they offloaded it, and then they went out of business because they were making all the Total Wine, because Total Wine owns all their brands. I don't know if you knew that. Like, over 50% of their brands is Total Wine.
I did bring another
Thanks so
glass.
much. And so the guy that owned it goes, I'm done doing Total Wine. 6 months later, he went bankrupt.
Wow.
Which was really not smart, right? And so, but that process is still around. They just can't call it the Terra Pure process anymore because it's, someone owns the patent to it. But people replicate it all the time. There's a guy in Start Engine that does his own in Ohio. He does like a pressure cook one, and then Blanton's does like a steam version. And so what it is you take the juice in a big vat, the staves of the barrel, and with ultrasonic waves, hot and cold, it comes out tasting older. But you can't change the age statement. But it also keeps it consistent. So most brands out there that are huge and if you go to Arizona today, we're gonna see High West and Bullet and Whistle Pig. You're gonna see all the normal ones, right?
Sure.
They're all using it, but they don't want to tell you that because the old guy from Tennessee's head will explode for 40. I've been drinking 40 years, technology.
Right.
And so, but we're super transparent about it because you'll get destroyed on YouTube for sure. But that's what it is. So that's why this doesn't taste like 117. And so the reason we got all these awards, and last part of the spiel, just because you never had it before, it won Top Secret in Forbes, Platinum LA, Double Gold New York 2 times, and Double Gold San Fran. We beat Blanton's.
Yep, I got that written down.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
And so we think so. Some guy at the San Francisco one, which that's the biggest one, goes, I think you guys are winning so much because you have characteristics both of a young and an old in the bottle.
Sure.
So it's just I would say funky, but some guy goes, oh, say unique. That's a better word to say. And so we think that's why it's so unique, But the price point, it's always under $40.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Frugal had it for $36.99.
Yeah.
Killer.
Man,
It's a killer price point.
People go and buy bourbon sometimes, and you think price dictates how good something is. That is not the case a lot of times. Sometimes you pay for the brand name, and sometimes, man, there is a lot of killer shit out there at that price point.
Sure.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'd rather spend $40 on something I'm not sure about
Exactly.
than $100 on something I'm not sure about just because it's $100.
100%. Yeah, I think some brands think if it is more on the retail, that the customer is not that smart and they think it's going to be better. Mm-hmm. And the customer's like, no, dude. But if you see it online a lot and you go, oh shit, it's under 40. If that was 50, you might not grab it.
Right.
But if it's under 40, you're like, screw it, I'll take a stab.
Everything
at
is
it.
about marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It really is. I will say, and what you described is completely accurate.
It is
And
delicious.
My biggest takeaway is, after drinking it, I'm like, you know what? You want more.
Yeah.
I mean, no, seriously. It's
Luckily,
like,
we have a whole bottle.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know if I'll be drinking it all tonight.
I don't know. Taylor's been dipping into it a little bit. He might want a little more.
Hey, wait, but then you got a beer too.
Yes,
I know,
right.
yeah,
we gotta
exactly.
chase through.
So it's a Boilermaker. That's what we tried to make this, comparison to it. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
Cool.
Like that's when we told Holy City, we like, what do you want? I'm like, well, we want a light beer. I don't want like a stout. I think you'll have one of those and you're done.
Yeah.
But if you get this, you might have 4.
Yeah.
Right.
But you try to replicate it. Is what
Sure.
They try to do.
Yep.
So
And we're going to jump around a lot of questions tonight.
Sure.
But let's go back to your bourbon, because you mentioned about the number of awards that you've won, some on your website. Is there one particular one that stands out that you are most proud of all the awards that you won?
2 of them.
Yeah.
So Top 6 World in Forbes, we won the Double Gold New York. remember I was laying in bed. It was COVID. I was in Hollywood because I was like, I'm in Hollywood. I'm here. I'm a musician. And it was like a terrible time. I was like dude, I was right in front of the Scientology castle. Like the dude from the 70s show, you saw him like crying all the time because he was going to jail. Like it was a weird place. And so, and I can get into that too because I was living right there. Like all the actors lived there. And then I was like, wow, this is exciting. And then COVID happened. I'm like, man, this sucks. I'm just stuck in my apartment. It's really gross outside. And then I was just like laying in bed, like, man, I don't know what to do. Like I moved here for the bourbon, and then I would just Google Boone's Bourbon all the time, and I would put California next to it, see if like a store picked it up or something. And I just Googled Boone's Bourbon, and all of a sudden Forbes popped up and go top 6 ranking bourbons according to the Double Gold New York International Spirits Competition. I was like, what the? And all of a sudden, dude, all these distributors who didn't want to pick us up, they picked us up like the next day.
I was going to ask that. I mean, what does that do? I mean,
well, it's so silly. Yeah. It's the same juice, but as soon as you get that award, we'll pick you up. Yes.
Yeah, we'll pick you up. Mm-hmm. And so now it's pretty much all over the country.
Well, and so the next one was the Double Gold San Francisco, which I was dying to win. And Double Gold is best of show. So that means like that's the top one. And so when we got Double Gold San Francisco, we beat Blanton's. And even like some of our distributors who weren't not even that behind it, but they picked us up, they were like, oh shit, like you guys are actually kicking butt. We're like, well, it's the same juice as before.
Sure.
But the cool thing was Canada called us that day. And they go, hey, we want to pick you up. Now, the deal never happened because it's rough. If you go up there for tobacco or any spirit,
sure,
this is $40 here, and it's like $90 up there.
Wow.
I don't know how people get drunk up there. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And so we didn't do the deal because we were going to have to pay to be in Canada.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? I was like, you guys pick up everything else. I'm sure they don't pay to be up there. And then the same company that wanted, like, it's called the LCBO, the same agency that wanted to pick us up through that, then they picked up Nashville Barrel. And I'm like, I know they're not paying for it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So maybe we were just small and maybe they thought that we didn't know anything. But those are the two favorite ones, is the Tops in the World with the Double Gold and then the Double Gold San Fran.
Do you feel more pressure now as to how do we top ourselves, or do you just go steady as she goes, keep on going?
Second one. First, I was like, we were trying to prove ourselves. Like, dude, when we first came out, this YouTube channel called Rock Gut Whiskey, like, posted it. They live in Milwaukee, and they posted, oh, this thing's terrible. But my friends, I remember I posted on Facebook, look at these guys, like, making fun of us. And all my friends, like, all my buddies were, like, making YouTube comments, like, screw you, guys. Like, it was all this drama.
Of course.
And then it was just like, man, that sucks. Where people it's like father-son brand. We're just trying to do our thing.
Yeah.
But I think when people see a bourbon, they think, like, you know, big distillery, all this money. And so in the beginning, it was rough. But now with all the awards and stuff, we're kind of just got our blinders on. And people know it tastes good. And now we got the single barrel. And, you know, now we got this, and it's kind of funny. People that never wanted to try this, but try this, now they're going to go buy this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool. So
yeah.
I think it's like being a musician.
Sure.
And Taylor knows this too. Like, if you just stick around long enough, oh, yeah, I know Tyler. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where we're at.
Something's going to happen.
Well, it's just, you know, like I said before, I think time's the last ingredient sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people start music, or they start a brand, and in a year they go, holy shit, this is hard, and they give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
Talk about that, too, because a lot of people, and you see the commercials, and you see these celebrities running around, and they just stick a name on a brand. Right?
Talking about like a big artist or something?
Yeah. And you know, I won't mention any names, not that they're coming on this podcast, but but they've got big whiskey brands, and they've got big, just big spirit brands, and they're just lending their name to it. They're getting paid for that.
Yeah, they're licensing it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you're not doing that. You're actually hands on this thing.
Yeah, totally.
Since day one.
Yeah, well, a lot of people assume that sometimes, where they're like, let's say they're just from somewhere else out in the country, and they go, oh, they always think I'm a country artist because my name sounds pretty country, Tyler Boone, you know. And so I'll see reviews, country artist. I'm like, you didn't even listen to my music, like what? But who cares? Whatever. But a lot of people, they assume that. And then eventually, I think when they kind of peel the onion a little bit and go, oh, no, they're actually running it.
Yeah.
Then people go, oh, wow, it's a father-son thing.
Right.
And then it's cool. But, dude, there's always, I mean, we could talk about a million of them where the artist is on it and the artist is, like, sober. And you're like, well, they didn't do anything to it.
And
I think you know which one I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah.
And there's some of my favorite artists. Yes.
Totally.
And they're doing commercials for the brand, and I go,
Yeah, but you know what, man? If you were that guy, after everything we're talking about, you're like, oh man, it's money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
the rest of the band is partaking.
Totally.
Yeah.
But you know, there's some good brands out there that are with artists. But you know, one that blows my mind is, which I don't think is that great. I don't care if I say it, Terramani. I don't think is that good at all. but it looks like Casamigos and it's $20 cheaper, and that's the rocks. And he sold.
Oh, is it? Okay.
He sold 1 million cases. So people are buying it though.
They are. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it also just comes with how you market it with the artist too, because I think The Rock really did market it well, where he's like out there in the fields cutting the agave plants.
He did the thing, yeah.
But some people, they just put their name on it and they go, it's going to sell, and it doesn't.
Right.
There was an AC/DC one I remember just going through distributors like in California. I was flying to San Francisco a lot trying to get like a distributor, and just hoping to God they would take it, and they never did. But they had the AC/DC one, and I remember it came out and it completely flopped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bottle was stupid. It was like a guitar, and I'm like, dude, no bar is going to put that in their well.
Right. It doesn't fit. It doesn't
but
work.
I think they think if there's an artist on it, it's going to sell.
I'm curious about. There's two. Maybe it's. I think it's the same brand, but Megadeth and.
Oh yeah.
Iron Maiden have one. I think it might be the same umbrella company, and they've kind of got
the beer, right?
It's the beer.
Yep.
Yeah. I know I've seen them marketing, like their pictures are on the commercials and things, but I don't know how much involved they are.
Yeah, they're probably just getting licensed.
Yeah.
So when I used to run the Shinedown studio, the band Shinedown, I used to help run their place for like 8 years out of Charleston. They've done a lot of my music too. They used to send that to the studio. We used to have them like all in our window right there, and it was just a regular. I think most of the time that happens, those kind of breweries reach out. It's some kind of deal, and they're just repurposing some other beer.
Probably so, because the artwork is really cool on them.
It is cool.
Think about Megadeth and Iron Maiden.
It's all the comic book shit.
I've got a big old. Somebody gave it to me like a canister where a big old bottle of their beer came in. And it's got the Megadeth. Eddie is their symbol on the front of it.
Yep.
It's like and I keep it on my top of my beer fridge in the garage because it's a cool.
It is cool
canister, but that's kind of what you. And I've had both beers.
Yeah, that was a long time. That was like 2016 or some shit.
I think you can find it like Cool Springs Wine and Spirits. I think you can find the Iron Maiden one. And
that's cool.
And the Megadeth.
Well, I mean,
one
Metallica does a whiskey called
the Willet. Yeah.
Blackened.
Yeah,
but they use guitar waves to age it.
When you buy,
you know what I mean?
When you buy the bottle, it has a QR code on the back, and you can scan it. It'll tell you what songs were played to the bottle.
They're probably just balling it and it's playing on a speaker. It's just like the workers like playing Enter
You got
Sandman.
Nothing Else Matters and Fade to Black.
Whatever. Hey, but they sold a shit ton of that.
Absolutely.
They did.
Absolutely.
We did. You ever been to Bourbon Beyond or Louder Life in Louisville?
I've been to Louder Life, yes.
So we've sponsored before. I played Bourbon Beyond too. And that's the coolest festival. And obviously all the time, Blackened's there. And Metallica played 1 year. And I remember I played Bourbon Beyond, and then the next weekend's Louder Life. It's the same stage. And I had to come here to play Americana Fest, which Americana Fest is such a drag sometimes to play. But I came here to do that. And but I'm not trying to talk shit about Americana Fest. I'm just saying that they'll put you in a random venue, but you always say yes because it's Americana Fest. So I don't know. I don't remember where I was playing, but I was like, "Hey, Dad, I got to go," and we're backstage Metallica. And my dad was like, because he had his pass because we were a sponsor. And he's like, yeah, I'm Guy Kirk Hammett's right here. I'm like, the guitar player Metallica, you're behind him? He's like, yeah. I was like, holy shit. That is so cool, man.
That is so cool.
Because I was a big Metallica fan growing up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, same. And he's got like a solo thing going on, too.
He does?
Yeah, he's got a little solo thing. As a matter of fact, when they were playing here recently.
Yeah, there's like recently, yeah.
Yeah, because they played a Thursday and a Saturday.
opened up.
Yeah, on the Thursday, and then Saturday it was Limp Bizkit and Ice Nine Kills or something. So they had two different set lists and two different opening acts.
God, Limp Bizkit.
But the Friday, I think Kirk was somewhere locally playing like some of his stuff.
He did the Gibson Garage.
That's what it was.
Yep.
Okay, yeah,
I saw that.
Cool stuff.
I'm a big guitar nerd. So.
Yeah, you shred, by the way, too.
Oh, thanks,
yeah,
man.
absolutely, man. You got to check out. You probably have checked this stuff out.
Yeah, I've listened to the music. It's good. Yeah,
Thanks, man.
It's good.
I'm definitely a blues guitar guy.
Yeah. So. It's funny. I sit there and think, obviously you're in the music business and you've toured with a lot of different people and stuff like that, but I would imagine, I don't know if starstruck is necessarily the right term, but when your bourbon became really big, were there any artists that you're out there on tour with and all of a sudden they're coming up to you that maybe had they not known that you did a bourbon, they wouldn't be as forthcoming with you, and they're like, "Oh man,"
I think when the bourbon got bigger, then artists were like, "Oh shit,"
yeah,
it took me more seriously,
yeah,
because anybody can make. I mean, Taylor's this is a studio,
sure,
anyone can make a record now,
yep.
So everyone could be an artist when they're not really artists,
yeah,
and so
they can do it under their sheets, right? Taylor?
Yeah.
Conversation we had earlier.
120,000 songs drop a day, right? And so what I'm saying is now being an artist is just like so common.
Yeah.
And so I think when I came out with this, it was like, oh, he's serious. You know what I mean? So I think more people took me more serious after this came out. You know what I mean?
Especially that you've got this, that you had to push to get that to Tennessee. I'm sure you're still striving to get it other places. We'll get to that. But not only do you have this and that, you've got a single barrel you mentioned earlier too. It's a collab with Bardstown.
Yeah.
So to your point, it's like we're not just laying on one thing. We're not just sticking with one thing. We're going to keep growing this thing as much as we can.
Plowing ahead, you know?
Yeah, well, I think it makes it more exciting. If it was just still this, you'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But now we got 3 things, which I think that's pretty darn neat. You know what I mean?
It is. It's great. It's something really to be proud of. And I'm sure you're not done yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do a rye. I'd love to do one day like an actual aged beer in the bourbon. That'd be cool.
In your own bourbon barrels?
That'd be neat.
Wouldn't that be cool?
But you got to have the money to do that.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to the beer. I mean, I know we're jumping around because, you're like I said earlier, you're like the Renaissance man. You do so much. But, being a beer podcast too, I sat there and going, man, so you got this beer. It's a Pilsner. Mm-hmm. What else is coming next? I mean, you got more craft beer options coming down the line?
Well, I'd like to do the bourbon age thing. Yeah. But at the moment, we got to prove this one because it's been 3 years doing it, but distribution just basically kind of started up again. Well, for Tennessee, it was 2 weeks ago. But for South Carolina, I just got the whole state. And, man, we're with a wine distributor that has a beer license. Yeah. And they are hustlers. Yeah. And so, sometimes you get with the big distributors and nothing freaking happens. So it's just like you just got to kind of find your place and stuff. And so now that this is starting to kind of get a thing of its own, Untapped, I saw your Untapped. Uh-huh. What do you call it? Brew Yeast Works? That was you, right?
Yeah, that's my
you,
home.
Right?
Yeah, my home brewery is called Yeast Infection Brew
Yes,
Works.
yeah. So I was looking at it, I was like, huh? Yeah. Oh, that's him. Yeah, I knew it was you.
So when I check in at home, I just check in at Yeast Infection Brew
But
Works.
I love Untapped, and then every day I get on there, I'm like, shit, we're getting more placements.
Yeah, we're both on it. We talk about it all the time.
It's the shit. Yeah. And I think it shows people, like, once you get it. So we have 3 accounts, by the way. I don't know how that happened.
Really?
There's 3 different Boone's beers.
I gotta find.
There's one called Boone's Bourbon, and there's one called Holy City. People still posting that one. And then there's the Pilsner. But I don't give a shit. People are posting about it. Yeah. But the next thing, man, I think the biggest next thing is I just need to get this in a lot of bars. You know what I mean? Because stores are pretty easy for us because I do tastings like 3 or 4 days a week if I'm here. Yeah. And then next week I'm back in Kentucky doing them. Where I stand there at a store and go, hey, taste my stuff, and I always sell because I say I'm the owner, and people are like, well, it's crazy, and I sign them. Yeah. And so with this, my goal, well, it's easy. All my store accounts picked it up because I'm like, oh, cool, you'll be here anyway. But bars, I'm like, man, I really need to, like, if I can get, 40 bars in Nashville, they'll be buying it every day.
I'm going to go knock on the doors for you. Be like, get that cool. Boone's beer.
Yeah, we're putting the word. We're putting the word out already.
Hey, man.
I got a buddy.
He's my friend.
I know him. I met him yesterday. Hey, you know what we got to talk about?
What?
We got to have the in-depth conversation because we do it a lot on the podcast. The Untapped app and the rating system. Yeah. What do you look at? I mean, you're the entrepreneur now with the beer.
Some dude gave me like a half star the other day and said, "Meh."
Punch that guy.
And it was at our biggest bar in Charleston.
What does he know? He probably don't even like pills.
Oh, dude, he's probably just some freaking loser. No,
I know.
But
he's probably a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably a Cardinals fan. Cubs fan.
You guys are big baseball guys.
Yeah.
I grew up in Cincinnati. I'm a diehard Reds fan.
Nice.
So,
Well, I think that. I think if you get at least a 3.5, it's whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people are just going to be like, hey, how can you always be a 5-star every time?
But then you can't be a half star. Like, people that give half stars are usually just say, I don't like Pilsners. Well, don't drink the damn Pilsner then.
That's true. I think that's, okay, yeah, so people ask all the time, why don't you do an IPA? Because I'm an IPA drinker. Uh-huh. So, you can't please anybody. No, you can't please everybody.
You can't. I think you take, based on everybody we've talked to brewery-wise, you take that Untapped with a grain of salt. Totally. It's almost... Remember some classes you'd have in school, and maybe sometimes they throw out the high score and they throw out the low score and kind of pick.
Put it in the middle.
Yeah,
Well, it's like Yelp. Average. I don't believe all the Yelp reviews. It's just some crotchety, pissed off person. This restaurant was terrible. You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah.
But I think back in the day, South Park made an episode about that, where people that were Yelp reviews that they thought they were incredible. I think now all those reviews people don't really take because dude, people when we started this. They used to go to other competitors. I don't know why they did this. They would give us 1-star review on Total Wine. And so it made our review go way down. And we're like, why would you do that? And we knew who it was. Like, it was just some competitor. So that's why I don't really believe in them so much, you know?
Yeah, it's got. Then we had one brewer that said, we don't look at the stars. We maybe look at the comments. If somebody throws like I just said, I don't like Pilsner, so I gave it a low score.
Well, yeah, I mean, we do beer exchanges with people. And a while back, I had a, what was it? The pickle beer. The spicy pickle beer.
The famous pickle beer.
And
who makes that?
This one was Distill. And
I had one recently. It was all right.
I took 3 sips of it, and I said, I can't do this again. But you know what, though? I didn't even rate it. I'm not going to rate stuff like that. If I don't like it, you know, just
someone else might love it.
Somebody else might love it. And so we've kind of laughed. We've had so many discussions with so many other people over time, and I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I won't rate anything below 3.50 on Untapped.
Yeah.
If it's anything below that, I just say, you know what? Nope, I'm not going to rate it out of due respect.
Totally. I mean, if you're a small business guy, that might be something huge for you. So why would you mess somebody up?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't hurt you. You know what I mean? So why? You know what I mean? So just be cool. Be like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, could be.
I hope. In your case, in any brewer's case, if somebody leaves a low star, or like a half star, they put a comment. That way you can just see how stupid they are.
Well, the guy said meh. And it's our biggest bar in Charles called Rebel Taqueria.
Okay.
We do a big festival there every year for Labor Day. My buddy Lewis owns it. He supports the living shit out of us. And he even texted me. He's like, dude, I was like, oh, come on. You know what I mean? So, who knows, man? The guy could just be a miserable drunk.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
he's just dopey.
So, who cares?
A dopey guy.
But I think Untapped's cool, though, because I'll go on there and go, oh, my God, like, you guys ever been to Charleston?
I have not.
I have been to Charleston, yes.
Do you ever
I've been to Savannah. We didn't get to Charleston. Apologies. Yes.
Well, Charleston's a big food town.
Yeah.
And Sullivan's Island is like the real, like, uppity-up beach town area. And today we saw Pose is like a famous spot. And like we're in Pose today. So I love Untapped because I can go, oh my God, we're moving.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you checked your Untapped? Because Untapped's got other features too. And one day we'll talk about it. But
didn't know that.
The Find It
No.
thing. So there's a Find It thing on the app where and I don't know how accurate it is. I don't know if people have to put it in there for it to find it.
Sure.
But hey, you want to find Boone's beer within 10 miles or 50 miles or 100 miles. Untapped has that feature. I don't know how it knows where it is. I don't know what feeds into that.
That's crazy.
But that might be something for you to look at.
But you have to have an account. You got to log in.
No, I can look if I'm looking for this beer right now as just a consumer of Untapped. I can be like, hey, is Boone's Bourbon around?
No freaking way.
Yes.
While you're doing that, I want to pour another bourbon.
Yeah.
Which has been taking up, and while you're doing that, which has been taking up more of your time over like the last couple of weeks, months, with the bourbon, the beer. I mean, you're checking numbers, you're trying to figure it all out.
The beer, because I had that show, the X and N.
Yeah.
And then it was like over 200 people, which I've never done that before.
Yeah.
In Nashville, like ticketed, like hard ticket. And so I was freaking out because I was trying to get Littman to pick it up, and I didn't want to be like annoying, but I was like, "Can you please pick it up?" You know?
Yeah.
And they picked it up the week of, and they got a truck here ASAP, and literally the day before it showed up, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So that's what was my main concern, and then now the next couple weeks are make sure all my liquor stores get it, and then I can kind of take a breath. And then my next thing is like, all right, cool, let me get, because what I'm trying to do is prove to Littman is go, hey, it's in, we sold it. Can I get with the reps? Because that's always a little hard to get, or like they call it like a ride along or work with.
Sure.
And so, hey, can I come with you? Can I hit a couple of your bars? And when you walk in as the owner, if it's the bar manager or the owner, they always go, oh my God, thanks for coming, dude. Yes, I'll pick it up.
Yep.
But if it's like, that's another good thing. I'm sure you guys know a whole bunch of brands. If it's like the rep of the brand, it does help. But like when the owner comes in, they always go, whoa, you came to my place? Like a town, you can't hear, and it freaking works.
Right.
It works. And I love work-alongs, and I beg for them all the time. Because then you got to build a relationship. And then the next thing I do, I'll come back like the next the next couple of days I'll come in once it's in, and I'll buy like dinner, and maybe I'll go to the bar and I'll buy everyone at the bar a beer. Hey, I'm the owner. Can I buy everyone? And it's like, fuck yeah. And then all of a sudden the bar loves that.
Yeah.
And you go, hey, he comes here, man. He supports it. So when you make your money, you got to spend it again, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then you're hoping that you kind of I always say you want to dig deeper, not wide.
Yeah.
Because we went wide. This went 26 states when we came out with it because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was touring a lot. And so we got it in 26 states. I was playing shows all over. And then we realized we can't manage this shit. You know what I mean?
You have to supply those states?
Yeah, and then they want you to come back. You're like, I can't come back to Nevada. You know what I mean? And then we weren't getting paid from some distributors. Like, we took every deal, and some people were kind of shisty. It's, you learn a lot.
Sure.
And so now I'm like, hey, let's dig deep in Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, California. I want to get back in Illinois. and I'm trying to get back into Florida. They say if you want to be rich in the booze business, no matter what, wine, beer, spirits, California, Illinois, Texas, Florida, because there's the most people in the stores there.
Sure.
And you can get, and so if, like Tom Segura has a vodka now. The guys from Sunny Philly have one called Four Walls Whiskey. If you look at their distribution, every brand when they start, they do California, Texas, Illinois, Florida, because they'll make a ton of money. And then you can go, all right, cool, let's do another state.
You can fill in after that.
Yeah, I mean, Florida, they sell, California, I used to live here 5 years, they sell liquor and beer and CVS, Walgreens.
Yeah,
it's wild.
yeah.
And it's 24 hours a day. So
that's a different thing. Yeah.
So you can just get more accounts automatically. Grocery stores. It wasn't here like wine you couldn't buy in grocery stores for a very long time.
Yeah, not till I'd say recently, 5, 6, 7 years now. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, just because you guys are got your thumb on the pulse here. Then they just kicked out THC drinks out of bars.
I've heard that. Yeah, same
really?
law. Yeah.
They just kicked that out. And so I mean, like, do you guys ever mess with those kind of brands? No,
I haven't. No, I haven't done that. I haven't done the non-alcoholic stuff.
No,
I don't understand.
We've joked about it. I did. We did last year, so we were. It was just a fun thing we did. I did what was called the cider and seltzer tour for a summer. I had not really had any ciders and seltzers, and it wasn't like I was just.
You were just trying a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
like
to
I was just
report back.
going to every brewery and trying of them, but.
He didn't do it a second tour.
We did a fun
second
thing. We did like a little fun thing. I'm
Like,
like,
I
all
missed my
right,
beer.
we'll try like a
like,
dozen
yeah,
or so, and then report back on a podcast later in the year. And I was just like,
Yeah, we're not doing that again.
Dude, kids have it so easy. We grew up drinking like 40s and freaking Mad Dog. What was it called? Mad
Dog 2020.
Mad 2020.
Yeah.
Now kids have seltzers.
Badger 2020.
They have seltzers. You know what I mean? Like you guys.
I was in Frugal today when I was picking up this, and I saw just people you could tell they're tourists, right? Coming
Sure.
into town. They just got into town, and they're picking up their high noons and this and cases of this. And I walked by this couple and get the watermelon.
get
That's
the
all they buy. Babe, I don't like strawberry. You know,
Oh my
like,
God, man.
yeah.
No.
I just don't understand it. But
I've
there's
yet to find a
huge market.
seltzer that I actually liked.
High Noon's the only one I
Yeah.
like, but it's expensive.
Well,
Is it?
It's $20 a pack
God.
for 4. That's
yeah,
insane.
I tried the High Noon. I was like, the only one that I could go in on a little bit. Where I'd be like, maybe I would rate that on top was the Truly. It was like the fruit punch or something.
Yeah, Truly's good.
Yeah, not too bad.
White Claw sucks. They mass produced it. And so, But when it came out, it tasted good. I think it happens all the time at brands is they start getting bigger and you start tasting and go, oh, it changed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It tastes more chemically.
Yes.
Happens all the time.
Big, like I think even is it Boston Beer Company or Sam Adams owns Truly? Didn't we talk about that like recently? So that's
Well, Bud Light had a freaking seltzer for a second too.
Yeah.
Remember what was it? The peanut butter one, Screwball.
oh yes,
When Screwball went all over the place, and then some people try to do some peanut butters, and now there's one. The guy from Barstool Sports, Tatum, I know who I'm talking about. He's got long hair. He just quit. He was just on Theo Von the other day. He's got it.
Caleb.
Yeah, and he's got a tequila called Chickadee, and it's a tequila peanut butter. It's gross, dude.
Is it?
But I think people are just trying to. And he was on Theo Von, and I'll give him like, cap of the hat. Theo was like, "How's it going?" He goes, "It's the hardest thing I've ever done." I'm like, "Yeah, because a brand is tough, dude.
Yeah.
Especially tequila. I would not want to get in tequila.
I think a part of it, and I was going to mention this earlier. If you can find drinks, maybe Screwball was one of these. Maybe that. Maybe it's better in a cocktail. Maybe you can find that cocktail.
Sure, like something like a Christmas time thing.
Yeah,
and
find the right
ladies
thing,
like it.
Yeah, and get the thing. And the reason I was going to mention yours is your price point on this thing is beautiful for that. If you get something, I love my shit neat. Once in a while, maybe an ice cube. I love it neat. But man, if you love, hey, I'll just put this in a cocktail in a Manhattan or an old fashioned or something. It's a $40 bottle. You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
If you spent $60 or $70 and you put it in a cocktail, sometimes you're like, it's kind of a
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if you buy like a Weller 12
Yeah.
that you found for 120, you're like, dude, I want to put that in a cocktail.
You don't put that in a
I put that.
cocktail.
I may drink that
right.
neat.
You don't put it in Coke. You don't.
But if it, yeah, totally. Oh, dude, I remember one time I was on tour, just graduated college. We did a show with the Avett Brothers. Remember those guys? And then we did some shows with Spin Doctors and Blues Traveler, and then we did Up and Down. I actually came to Nashville, played the Bluebird, the open mic night, but my name got pulled, so I thought I was a rock star. And then we went back into Hilton Head in South Carolina, and we're at the last show. It was me and my buddy Tom. We're doing this acoustic tour, and we were having the time of our lives because we had no responsibilities, and so we're just drinking, And so we're playing, and we see this older guy, give us a shot of Pappy, 13 year or something.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? And it was my dad. He's like, hey, came to your show. And then some guy down the bar goes, I'll have one of those. And he put Coke in it. And we're like, oh, what are you doing? doing?
No.
That's the basic law of whiskey. Don't do
God, there was years ago
I
somebody.
was so pissed.
There was years ago somebody. I don't drink Coke and soda, and there was years ago somebody had bought me a Jack and Coke, and I took 2 sips of it and I just dumped it out. I said I can't do it. This is gross. I probably did it 30 years ago.
The only thing I do is ginger beer.
Yeah.
I like ginger beer.
Yeah.
My favorite cocktail is Kentucky Mule. If it's like that, like with a soda, but not ginger ale, ginger beer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's my favorite.
Scott, I feel like we could talk all day with this man about bourbon and the beer, but
Taylor's gonna let us stay here till like 11.
It's 11 o'clock tonight. We'll
I
be
think
here.
we booked it till 11.
Yeah, why not?
Cheers to Taylor.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you, sir.
He said he didn't have anybody else after us.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think the guy's single. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Cheers.
Cheers,
But,
man.
you know.
This is
Oh, sorry.
Same here.
Cut that.
Yeah.
Cut that.
he's taking it out right now.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
We got to talk about the music because, Tyler, he does have a new single coming out. And by the time
It's kind of your day job,
this
isn't it?
podcast comes out,
music.
Yeah.
you're going to have some new music out, man.
Drops on Friday. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Congratulations,
Tell us
by the way.
Congratulations. Another round here. Yeah.
Very cool. Yes.
Very
Cheers.
excited.
What's it called?
Put the Hurt on Me. Thanks
That's
for checking
right.
it out. It's got my buddy Peter Keys, Leonard Skinner Nut, which we brought him in here before.
Cool.
Yeah, man, it's cool. It's a tune I did. My friend Trey Sasser was like, "Hey, come! I want you to record me." And I was like, "Man, I don't have any other songs. I just did a record, which that's gonna come out soon." But then I was like, "Fuck it! I want to write this new song," and I wrote it like in 2 days. And I was like, "Oh, I haven't done that in a while." And I think, dude, Taylor's a musician too. Sometimes you feel like I can't do this anymore. I can't write songs anymore. And then you do it, and you're like, "Oh God, I did it again!" You know?
Yeah.
And we recorded it one day, and then my buddy Ryan Sanchez, who's my co-host on my podcast here, he did my whole other record. But this, I was like, man, can you put your little pizzazzle on it? And he took it and did some cool shit to it from the stems we did from that session. And man, it sounds kind of cool. I like it a lot. So I did the song "Wicked Girl" with also Peter Keys on it, and I thought no one's gonna like this song. And sometimes you just put it out, and then dude, it landed like NASCAR, Fox on Sports.
Yeah.
They licensed it. Modern Blues Rock on Spotify still has it on their official thing. Pandora. Whole bunch of cool shit. So now it's just fun to put music out and just see what happens to it. So
And it could
I'm
be
excited.
a one-off like that, like you said. Like it
Totally.
doesn't have to be on a record. It could be.
It's on that vinyl I gave you.
Yeah,
It's the
okay.
first track. Yeah, man.
way.
Yeah, check. Yeah, there you go. Woo.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. What did you say? One of 100?
Yeah, 1 of 100. Yeah, I think it's like 97, 96.
Nice.
Yeah, but the first track on the back, "Put the Hurt on Me," it's on there.
Oh
so.
shit! Steve,
man.
you could keep it half the time at your house.
There you go.
I should have brought 2.
I'm gonna start. It's gonna start at my house.
How does that conversation? I mean, I'm sure you probably have known him for a while, but Peter Keys of Leonard Skinner. How does that conversation happen that he's going to do this? Help you out doing the song.
He's just a kind guy.
Yeah.
He was a client of mine for my company Artist Formula years ago because he's like, "Hey man," which I get it most just musicians are we're like carnies is what I used to call it. Like you're trying to get you do a gig and you find a good gig, but you're always like it's like the film industry. Like you're doing one gig, you're like, I got to think about the next one. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna end. So he hit me up 2020. He's like, "Hey man, I don't know how long Leonard Skinner's gonna be around, even though they're still doing it." And he's like, "I need to boost up Peter Keys as a thing." So he hired us to do a lot of stuff for him. And so then eventually one day I was just like, you hired me. Let me like do something for you. And so I was like, hey, don't hire me for this service. Did a whole bunch of Spotify stuff for him. I was like, if you don't hire me, then can you play on one of my tracks? And he's like, oh, done, easily. And so he played keys on that first track. And so then for this one, I just texted him. I was like, dude, I got a new track. You want to do it again? And then this time I hired him.
Yeah.
And so it's just like just being buddies. And he came on this podcast and he's just the shit. It's just I'm glad to have his number. And I think what that too is, with anybody on that kind of level, you just don't bug them. You just kind of like, hey, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
And you keep it cool.
Yeah.
Like, even though I worked for Eric Bass of Shinedown forever, he barely talked to me. And then now, he came here last week, he's like, you better show up. You know what I mean? So I think you got to build a relationship and be cool.
Yeah.
And then now it's a cool thing. So just naturally let it grow,
Yeah.
And also, too, this time I was like, I deserve to, you deserve to be hired this time. So I paid him full price to play on it. So.
Is he local? Does he live?
Oh, yeah. He's got a studio here called, like, Stoner Creek Studio.
Okay.
Does a lot of stuff for Yellow Wolf. He's a rapper.
Okay.
And
Wow.
the same place that this now comes out of, Next Century Spirits, they make his called Creek Water. Have you seen that one?
I don't know if I've seen
It's
it.
like a $20 bottle of whiskey. It's 1 day old what do you call it? It's the moonshine and lightning. What do you call white lightning?
Oh, white lightning. Yeah.
1 day old white lightning, and they use that technology I told you about, and they flash age and turn it whiskey.
Yeah.
That's creek water.
Okay.
Wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but
And they can sell it for $20 probably because there's not a lot of time invested.
holy
in
shit!
it,
I
right?
bet that bottle cost them like $2. You know what I mean? So they make a lot of profit on that.
Okay.
You got to think about that too, man. Price point's a special thing.
Yeah.
Man. It is. And then when it comes to music, music's worthless now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's because everyone go on YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube's the biggest platform in the world because you don't have to log into it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So anyone across the world can go on it. And
Yes.
so music, in my opinion, is people all the time, and they'll bitch about, oh, Spotify's not paying us. It's like, well, they're a publicly traded company. They have investors. They have to, make a return on their investment every quarter, And so they just learned how, they somehow crunched it where the artists get screwed and they're making tons of money. And so that's the model now. So, music's free. You got to do something else to make money. You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting because you were, even before we started recording today, we were talking about the platforms that we record on and things like that. And it's even more for you. You're in the music business, and how much from the time you started years ago till now, I mean, does your mind just blown how everything has changed, how you go about trying to get you out there to
Sure.
Sorry. Sorry.
Too much whiskey, Steve?
No, actually, it's just allergies. No, how much have you just been out there as far as like what you're trying to do and get the word out of who you are compared to the way it used to be?
Honestly, it's kind of the same. I think me and Taylor are the same age. We grew up with the internet.
Yep.
And so it's the same thing. It's just the platform changed a million times. So back when I was starting, it was MySpace. And so you just
Yeah.
you just posted all the time. And Craigslist was a big deal. I used to get my band booked. I was like 16 and get like $5,000 to go to Myrtle Beach and play like a random stupid gig. And everyone's like, what the fuck? How'd you do that? You know what I mean? And so just the internet. So I'm lucky to grow up with the internet and see it change. I think some artists now that they're younger and they see TikTok and they go, oh, that's it. I'm a TikToker. And so for me, I'm kind of like, man, you got to use all of it. And then it's just marketing, man. Like I don't find it that it's harder. I mean, I will say this. I used to get paid $1,000 a month from Spotify, and I'm still getting the same amount of streams or probably a little more. And now I'm getting like 200 to maybe 400 a month. And so that sucks. But when I was living in LA though, that was like my rent. And so I thought I was a rock star. I was like, man, I don't have to work. I'm paid. And so that changed. But no, it's just marketing. It's just the internet's awesome. I mean, the internet is probably the worst thing in the world too. But you know what I mean? Like people just get so obsessed with it. Their brains get all melted. But
Negativity and stuff like that too.
yeah, like your anxiety goes up, and oh man, like because a lot of people compare themselves, and I always try to say that everyone's on a different timeline, and also I get caught up in that all the time too, because I'll be like, man, I wish I was bigger, but then you go, where was I last year? I mean, I've been doing music for 20 years, and so I was like 16 when I started. I'm 35, and so you do compare yourself a lot because you'll see a band that you came up with and now they're on a national tour, but then usually bands break up. So I'm like, oh, screw it. I'm not a band. I'm a solo artist. I'm never going to stop. You know what I mean? So, you got to make sure that you also enjoy yourself, because a lot of people they'll get like there's that Louis C.K. joke where he's like, I love this joke where he's like, you ever see that guy on the road and he's driving, he's got a garbage bag in his window and he's just like, dude, just kill yourself. I know it's terrible to say, but like I never want to be like this about music. I want to be like, oh, dude, you know what, man? How about like just take a nap or go for a run or
Exactly.
or go to dinner and like it's all good. Because also at the end of the day, man, I think this too. No one gives a shit. You know what I mean? Like no one gives a shit. It's awesome we're hanging out, but like you guys got other things to do, and I don't have to be the biggest brand, or I don't have to be the most impressive, and you know what I mean? Like it's just no one gives a shit. Just enjoy yourself.
Enjoy yourself, but like you said, you've got multiple channels, so you can kind of do some things that you want to do too at the same time, right?
Sure.
You're like, I can do some music, I can do this, I can do that.
Makes every day different.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Where do you spend most of your time, or does it change daily based on all the products that you have and all the ventures that you're involved in?
It's every day's different based off like projects, but I spend a lot of my time on my company artist formula. That's like I made that my day job, and I'm very lucky how successful it's gotten, because like, hopefully I'm about to buy my first house here coming up. You know what I mean? Off my own company.
That's
you know what
great.
I mean?
Yep.
But I've gotten really good at my taxes. Because you will get absolutely screwed if you don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? I had a musician I bumped into last week that it was in Printer's Alley. It was called Fedora. It closed. It was awesome. It was these killer family that owned it, and it closed right across from the Blues Bar. Anyway, I met him there, and I bumped him at MJ's right across from. It's right. It's Printer's Alley. It's right next to it. But anyway, he was like, "Bro, how do I do my taxes?" I was like, "Oh, hit my CPA up." Like, that's my one thing about running my business. Sometimes I'm like, I got audited once, and I took a loan out. That's what it was, and I didn't report it. But I got a letter in the mail. I was living in California, and I almost like walked into traffic. It said I owed $60,000. I was like, "What the?" It was crazy.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, it's just whatever. Artist Forma for sure. That's my money maker. That's how I can go to dinner and stuff. But I'll always keep making music. Right. And then this is always cool because now it's starting to kind of grow some legs. So if on the weekends, I'm full blown doing this if I'm not touring.
Okay.
Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every Sunday I'm at Frugal. I created my own tasting day there. I go, hey, let me do 12 to 3. And they go, we don't do that. I go, I think like the rich guy is there kind of walking around looking. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, everyone's trying to get screwed up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like, I don't want to really, because I've been there before, and they go, no, man, I'm looking for a high noon. And I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. But on Sundays, dude, I'll sell 2 cases sometimes. Because it's just like these guys are like, oh, I'm in town, I'm from Alabama. Or they get terrible liquor down there. It's an ABC store. And they go, oh, this is cool. I've never seen this before. And I'll sell this one lady one time walked in there 2 weeks ago. She bought 4 of these and 2 single barrels. That was like $400. I was like, whoa. You know what I mean?
You're welcome, Frugal.
Yeah. Dude, I love Frugal McDougal. That is such a killer store. What's y'all's favorite store in town?
I like Frugal's is good. I go to Main Street Liquors a lot in East Nashville because it's really close, and I buy a lot. I can buy single beers.
Cool.
Over there.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm gonna talk to Aaron too about getting yours because he's a really good craft beer guy.
I've always wanted to be. I've never been in Main Street.
It's really good. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they've got hopefully they'll put your stuff in there. They've got a good whiskey selection, but I go in there for the beer because they've got the latest craft beer and I can buy singles. So
you can like mix match, make your own pack?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can walk through and you can pull from anything. If it's a 6-pack or 4-pack, you can pull from anything.
That's cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I live in Rutherford County, so we don't have that there. And, come on, Rutherford County. Main Street and then Frugal. But also, when I get out there, Cool Springs Wine and Spirits.
They're a good one.
Yeah,
really
I got to get back in there.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just another store I need to get back into.
Austin's the beer guy over there. So if you're looking for the beer guy, it's Austin.
We'll get back in there. Yeah. I've been back for a year and a half, and my thing was my main stores. Like, hey, I'm back. Like, I probably did like 30 tastings last year at Red Carpet.
Yeah.
In Gallatin, right? I think it's Gallatin. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I just was like giving a lot of love to stores. They're like, hey, I'm back, man. And so I think the Red Carpet just picked up the beer. Sinkers just picked up the beer.
Yep.
Bluegrass just picked up the beer. Colonial.
Okay.
That's a good store. I like Colonial a lot. They have like a really cool, like, they always have really cool, interesting new picks over there.
Okay.
So, and then I love Old Hickory.
Okay, I haven't been in that one.
So Neil and the whole staff came to the show the XN. I was like, what?
That's great.
I think I'm doing my first store pick with Old Hickory. And it's going to be a Bardstown. It's going to be a different bottle. It's a whole different thing.
That's going to be, those are so cool.
I can't wait, dude. I have a store pick. I never thought we'd ever get there.
And if that store is known even a little bit for their store picks and stuff.
They are.
They go.
They had that Maker's Mark one with the 8 different staves. Did you try that one?
I have not.
It was
tried
all
that.
over the place. It's got 8 different staves in it, and they age it in a mountain. And so I bought theirs. But I thought, oh wow, you guys are so special. You have this one, and then I did a whole like work along in East Tennessee for like a week, and every store had it. And I was like, oh, this isn't just y'all, it's everybody. I was like, damn it. But it was really tasty.
Yeah.
It was so funky. It was weird. It's
Good
like
stuff.
cherry wood and all that stuff. So anyway.
It's cool. You talked about, you've been in the music now for 20 years. And I know on your website, so they talk about you've toured with Sheryl Crow, Hootie and the Blowfish, Christopher Cross. I'm like, good Lord.
I didn't know who that was when I got that gig.
I'll bet not.
And then I got banned. Boone Hall Plantation. Ever heard of that? It's like my last name.
Yeah.
It's in Charleston. We played it there. It was a wine festival, and I got banned for a year because my parents came on they gave us all trailers, and his whole band came, like Kiki Asbin, her dad was the Tin Man, she was the keyboardist, and then he had all these other famous musicians on there. They all partied in my like little trailer, and it was wine festival, so it was red stains everywhere. And then I got a letter going, you're not allowed to come back to Boone Hall. And I was like, it was my fucking parents, dude. Like, yeah.
It wasn't me.
But it was pretty rock and roll. I was like, that's cool. Man. Yeah, that's cool.
We didn't throw any chairs out the window, but we stained up the carpet a little bit.
The guy came on there, the guy that like the director of the festival, and he opened it up, and we're all like, and the guy's like, get out of here! Like, oh shit.
No, I gotta tell you, I growing up.
Christopher Cross is a badass guitar player.
Yeah. They're a little more past my era, but Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh yeah.
I was the biggest freaking Hootie and the Blowfish fan.
I used to manage Driving and Crying. Well, I won't say I managed them. I used to help. I'm on the management team of Driving and Crying, and they cut Straight to Hell. And Darius Rucker cut Straight to Hell a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them so many times, and I always thought, God, what a great bar band. I don't know if that's the best.
Dude, okay, you know, Rear Cracked View Mirror, that first album, that like the first commercial success one, sold more records because it's the 90s. Everyone bought CDs back then.
Right.
But sold more records than any Beatles record. Because it was the most bar frat boy record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like gazillions, millions of dollars. Like they were the biggest frat boy band.
I was at, I remember this, for work, it was in the mid-90s, and I was covering an event called Farm Aid. And it was
they did Farm Aid. Yeah.
in Louisville.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll never forget this. It was the first year, it was like 95, when they were a big deal, and Dave Matthews Band became a big deal. And I mean, there were so many people that were just like, "Oh my God, Hootie and the Blowfish, man!"
Yeah.
Because they had, I remember Dan Marino like did a video with them and all that. I
Cool.
Mean,
Well, I used to do that stuff with Mark, the guitar player.
yeah.
And so he was an adjunct professor at the College of Charleston as well. And so I was just lucky. I was going to USC. I thought that's where you had to go because Hootie was huge in Columbia, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I got to go to USC if I'm trying to be a musician. Slowly figured out maybe this is not the place to be. Went back to Charleston because my loans messed up. And so I had to go back home. And I was working at a couple jobs. I was making a record with this guy, MJ Fick. And then I met Mark Bryan. He had a competition. He's like, hey, I'm trying to discover the next artist. I entered into it. He's like, you need to come down to my office. And so then we became buddies. And so there's a record I completely deleted off the internet because I thought my singing sucked. I was really young. But he played mandolin all over it, and we just were buddies. And so then I opened up for Hootie in Daniel Island in Charleston. And then a lot of I used to go to golf tournaments with Mark Bryan. It was wild. And I'm a terrible golfer. But you know the show Southern Charm. Do your wives watch that?
She probably has. I wasn't around if she did.
It's well, are you divorced? Yeah. I was like, wait a second, what over my head?
You're absolutely right.
Well, cheers. Yeah, just kidding.
Hey, you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? Anyway, we went on a golf tournament once with.
I wouldn't mind a little more if you would.
Sure.
Please,
we went on a golf tournament once with the guys from Southern Charm. I don't give it. This story's hilarious.
Perfect. Thank you.
So the guy that. Ravenel, there's a Ravenel Bridge in Charleston. It's named after his family. The guy went to prison because he was sold cocaine out of the governor's office. Crazy shit. And so he was in our foursome group. And so I was like, Mark, this guy sucks. And he was on the show Southern Charm, where it's like, it's Bravo. It's like reality TV. It's garbage TV. My mom loves that shit. And so I was like, this guy sucks, man. And he's like, no. And Mark's a great guy. He's like, we got to be Christian. He's a great guy. And halfway through, the guy's like doing drugs and shit. And Mark's like, this guy's a fucking piece of shit. Fuck him. I was like, yeah, totally. So Mark's cool. He was a great mentor when I was really young. He gave me some really good advice. My buddy Box, rest in peace. He had the biggest DJ show in Charleston. I did this DJ show with with Box. And Mark surprised me. You knew I was coming on because I was to move here. I lived here 10 years ago, and then I left.
Sure.
In 2015, I moved here, and he came on there. He goes, Tyler, biggest piece of advice is stick to your own. You can be the cookie cutter guy and do the Broadway shit, or stick to your own guns, do your own thing. And I think you need to do the second one. I was like, man, I love you, dude. I still have that radio clip. I kept it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So they've always been really nice, you know. And Darius has always been. I don't really know him too well, but he was always, cool.
You see him a lot in this area, probably too, right? I mean, he's in this area a lot. I know
I
he
think
does.
He just moved to England.
Oh, did he move to England?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Something must have happened.
Because he's part of the Grand Ole Opry or
Yeah.
something, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's one of the biggest country stars in the world.
Yeah.
Doc McGee used to manage him, and that was Kiss. And my best bud Sean, who co-founded Artist Forum with me, worked for McGee, and then he knocked off McGee a long time ago. He's like, man, you're not really marketing me as the Opry guy. You're marketing me as the Kiss guy. With the marketing of McGee, but McGee was Hootie for 20 years, and so then Darius kicked him off, went to Maverick, and then next thing you know, it was like country Darius Rucker, and like it was the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Because Darius Rucker had like albums way before that were all right. They're like kind of R&B, and they did that big country album in like 2012 or 14 or something, and it was like whoa,
It blew up. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest misnomers about Nashville is people that don't live here think it's just about country music. Sure. And you can really speak on that. It's not. I mean, there are so many artists that live here that aren't country music artists.
Sure.
Yeah. I just always
totally.
found that to be very fascinating.
No, 100%. It's but how much time we got left? I'll pay for the next hour. I don't care. If it's good content.
8 minutes till 7:30.
All right, cool. Well, then I'll get the next round because it's good content for me too.
If you want.
When do you start? 6?
Yeah.
So then I'll get it till 8. So cool. Anyway, cut that. No, just kidding.
No, you leave that in.
Yeah. All the punk rock guys moved here.
Mm-hmm.
So all Yellow Card and Reliant K, all these bands that I grew up with were. If you go see any country, like this week's CMA Fest, which I'm staying away from all that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But if you see any of the country artists, they're up there. They got their own thing going on, but the whole backing band is dudes in tattoos because they're good musicians.
Right.
But the punk music's definitely back, but they're just like, I'm available, and they go on tour. Like, you go see Morgan Wallen's band, my buddy Hootie, who is the tech for Shinedown, really good friend of mine. He texted me yesterday. He's now on tour with 3 Days Grace as their tech. We were hanging out somewhere, 1230 Club, and then right next to it's like a tequila bar, and he saw the Morgan Wallen band, and they're all dudes with gauge ears, and they're all punk guys.
They're not your
Yeah.
country stars.
Yeah, but that's where the money is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but there's a ton of music here that's not. I mean, it's the music industries here.
Right.
L.A., my opinion, it's more. Here is like the studio songwriting. No, sorry, I said it wrong. It's more the songwriting town. Over there is like the incredible studios are over there.
Yeah.
This person I knew. I'll put it that way. Same thing with you. The person I knew back in the day. she used to run United Recording, which was Frank Sinatra's
Okay.
spot, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
We had a dinner there once, and Eric Clapton's bass player was sitting next to me, and I was freaking out. I mean, like, it's just, that's the studio place where the studios are huge, incredible. There's badass studios here too, but I think the more productions in LA, and Nashville's the songwriting town, and so everyone's coming here to be like rubbing shoulders, because it all starts with the song.
Yeah.
If the song sucks, you can polish a turd, but it's still a turd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if the song's incredible, you can't knock it. You know what I mean?
I don't have any musical talent other than liking music and asking questions. But I've always one of the things I've found cool, and I've told other friends of mine that play drums or sing or whatever, and I'm like, I think it's cool to see people in other genres either play their music or support them.
Sure.
I remember one time being at an REM concert, and all of a sudden they said, "Hey, we got a special guest coming out here in Nashville," and it was Richard Marx.
Yeah.
Who had lived in Nashville, and I was like,
Wow.
freaking Richard Marx.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I didn't
That's
even know I didn't even know he, not to say I didn't know he was still around, but I'm going, I didn't know he lived in Nashville.
Yeah. Well, you
like
can
that.
buy a house here.
Yeah.
In LA, man, if the house I'm going to get here, hopefully very soon, probably $2 million,
Yeah.
$500,000. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which still, that's a lot of shit fucking money, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but like, whoa. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think everyone moves here because, like, the guy, one of the fathers, we had the band Exit In. The band opened up for us called the Photonics. They were these younger guys. They're like 14, 12 years old at the Exit In last week. The dad, Keith Nesbitt's a really cool, music industry guy. And, he was just telling me the same thing. He's like, man, when I came here, I bought my house with cash. You know what I mean? And so I think you can just really...
You get a lot more here
Yeah.
for the money. You sell something in California, you come out here, and taxes are lower compared to there.
But then also people that bought houses here in 5 Points, they're like, well, where do I go now? Now my house is worth $1 million, but now Nashville's nuts, man. It's just
Yeah,
blown
it's-
up.
yeah.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
And it is. And you're right. If someone's here and they want to sell their house and move somewhere else, it's like,
You're gonna move it to
what the hell are you going to
Murfreesboro.
do? Yeah, well, you're in Hendersonville or Murfreesboro.
Which I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like, that's what you're gonna do. You're like,
can't do it here.
Hey,
You got-
babe, our house is worth $2 million, but
Chattanooga will be the next stop, and
Yeah.
commute into Nashville every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
no way. We'll
Yeah.
never do that.
It took me, I live out near Smyrna, it took
far
me
away.
15 minutes just to get here today. So,
Where was I? I went to NASCAR on Sunday. We drove through Smyrna.
Okay.
Have you
Did
been
you
out
see the
there?
zebra, or was the zebra out that way?
What the hell are you talking about?
Huh?
You haven't heard this?
No.
You have not heard this?
Taylor knows the zebra.
Well, when this podcast comes out, it may be long gone.
It'll probably be
There's a
dead.
zebra
There is-
running around?
Somebody had purchased a zebra who lives in Rutherford County.
Just some rich asshole?
Whatever. Yeah, maybe.
Some rock star.
So for the last
I
couple
need a
days,
zebra. It's Kid Rock.
So they bought this zebra. It made national news. It's a hilarious thing.
Yes.
And so for the last couple days, the zebra got loose the day after whoever bought it. and it's been on the loose ever since. It was by the interstate the other day. Like, they had to shut down parts of
Holy
I-24
shit.
People
south
take a
of...
pic- It's a meme on
south of
everybody's
Murfreesboro.
account now. Have you seen this, Taylor?
I've never
It's on
seen this.
Yes.
Dude, when you go, what the fuck? If you're like,
my dentist office in Smyrna today was posting a picture of a zebra in front of it. Like, we got a special guest here today.
that is so
yeah,
funny.
I mean, it is the craziest
And
thing.
it's trending like crazy. Like every business has got that zebra in
I'm about to
their-
go
in
post
their-
that tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go find, and maybe get in the car and go find a
You
zebra.
wake up and be in your front yard like stupid fucking zebra.
Yeah,
Stupid
Zebra meat tastes good, man.
yeah, no, it's,
That's wild.
yeah.
Out in Smyrna?
Yeah, south, actually south, and then I saw something this afternoon where they were talking about latest was they thought maybe it had gotten hit, but it went off into like a rural area, and then there were rumors it was maybe down running around like Bell Buckle, but I don't know if that's just rumor.
Whoa.
But they can't find it. There's people that got drones out like looking for this dang zebra.
I wonder how
in the
much
middle
you
of the woods.
spent on it.
I know, right? It's like
I don't know.
wanted he puts a poster at wanted dead or alive. Stupid zebra.
I need it.
My sister up in Ohio is texting me today, and she's like, "It's on the national news now, the zebra."
I have not seen this.
Yeah,
That is so
well,
cool.
you've been
though.
busy with your bourbon and your beer.
Yeah, he's
you
a
know.
rock star.
Podcast. He don't have time for this stuff.
I'm out of here. No, just kidding.
No.
No, I'm trying not to drink during the week.
Yeah.
Even though I had a couple beers yesterday with my buddy Ryan after we had a podcast here, but
Yeah.
it's just, dude, my hangovers are now 2 days.
Yeah.
It's terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now I'm getting like those depressed hangovers where I'm like, I gotta get a job. Wait, I have a job. You know what I mean? But like I'm like freaking the fuck out. You know what I mean? It's just not good, dude.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable but I love my tasty alcohol. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, it's delicious.
It's all good.
It's
Yeah.
why you drink it in the first place.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, and it brings people together and you have a good time.
Yes.
But when I was 21, when I was starting this, the reason why it's 117, they're like, hey, do you want an 80 proof? I was like, nah, I want a high proof. I want to impress my buddies.
Yes,
you know what I
right.
mean?
That's right.
Because you're like, you drink an 80 proof and you're like, Well, let me ask you this, because I'm now that this is here in town, because this is mainly in South Carolina. The ABV on this. What's your take on ABV on beer?
It's perfect. This is great for a pilsner.
Okay.
You certainly wouldn't want it higher. I mean, that would be ridiculous.
Sure.
It would be a weird thing.
So what's a good ABV then?
For different styles.
Sure.
The pilsner's good. I would say pilsner could be 4.5 to 5.5, maybe even 6. I don't know why you would have it 6%, but
Sure.
5.4 is perfect, man. It's like it's nice and smooth.
Sure.
You could drink. I could drink 5 or 6 of these
And be
and be fine.
Be good.
Cut the grass, no big deal.
Yeah, some other days. So this is a good cutting the grass beer.
It is.
I was like, cool.
It's refreshing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You know what? Now that you think about it, yeah. I could be out cutting my grass and give me 4 or 5, and I'd be good.
You'd be
Yeah.
fine. And if you wanted to if you're going out with the boys and you drank this all night long, you'd be fine.
Sure.
It wouldn't put you.
You
over
wouldn't
the
be
top.
like, until you start
No.
drinking this, then you're screwed up.
You start adding to it.
Yeah,
you start chasing it. With
Scott and I, we just did this podcast is coming out after the podcast that we did where we went up to Cincinnati.
Oh,
in
cool.
Cleveland. We did a big takeover podcast of Cincinnati, Cleveland. We went up to Great Lakes. And on one of the episodes for Great Lakes, I was drinking a 14% stout.
Jesus.
No, it was pretty good.
So isn't there a law?
No, it's
with that?
12%. I'm sorry. 12%.
Isn't there a law with that where they have to give you a smaller glass when they serve it to you?
in tennis, there's some weird stuff. I don't know if it's a law. Some places will higher ABV stuff.
They give you a smaller
Will
glass.
give you a smaller glass.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It really
does make sense.
Yes,
Because
a lot of
you're
people.
going to
yes.
wake up and go, whoa. you
Yes,
know?
and also some people can't handle.
Well, do you
12 or
guys mess with
14%.
these at all?
Do not.
Do you hate these, right?
I do.
Yeah. So like,
Is it nicotine? What is that?
so these guys started sponsoring me as
Okay.
an artist. I'm not really.
I mean, we love those.
I'm not. Yeah. We love Zimos.
Yeah.
They're from Myrtle Beach. But everyone now, when they drink, they take these now.
What-
It's just nicotine. It's not tobacco. It's just a pouch. Here, I'll show you.
But is it something with the alcohol that it mixes and it
No,
does
it's just
something?
like when people start drinking, they start taking
Okay.
this. So when you go to like a
Okay.
urinal, they're always in them because people just spit them out.
Okay.
I saw a sign the other day at a bar that said, "We don't piss on your zin, so don't zin on our piss" or something. It was something weird. But anyway, I'm just saying this is like the newest, the biggest
Okay.
hit in Nashville. Everyone's
Right.
doing these.
You just
we go out
stick it-
drinking, people always have them in their pocket. It looks like tobacco.
Yeah.
It's just weird, man. The drinking culture is just Nashville is just like top of the top.
Yeah.
People are just drinking all the time.
Yeah.
I used to go to Red Door all the time, and now it looks like an episode of like an '80s Aspen movie. You know what I mean? Like all beautiful, rich assholes. And I'm like, fuck
At
this.
the Red Door?
Yeah, at the Red Door in Midtown. But it used to be like the dirty place.
Yes.
Now it's all like
Like,
tourists.
is it
and-
cool to be?
It's
like,
cool. It's cool to
Yeah, it's
totally.
cool to
Like
be
they got
at
a
the
ripped
dive
T-shirt
bar.
that they
Yeah.
just bought that day. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you though, not to leave anybody out, but do you have some go-to breweries in Nashville that you like to go to?
Yeah. I always was a fan of Yazoo.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other one? Oh my gosh, dude. There's one there. God, what's it called? It's got the car on it. I was the bar back there at the old location. Tailgate.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Tailgate. I was a bar back for a day. I walked
Yeah.
in and I quit.
Did you?
I was 25. Yeah, I was like,
Which
screw this.
location? Out Charlotte?
Yeah, the old one.
Okay, yeah.
And so I walked in. They go, "You're gonna make sandwiches." And I was like, "Fuck this." I'm like, "No, I'm not." I was like,
not
"I'm
doing
this
it.
shit." I thought I was gonna like do beer,
Uh-huh,
stuff. But I love Yazoo. I think Yazoo is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
I met the people from Jackalope recently at Mother's Ruin. That's a great bar. I'm down the street from that.
Okay.
Jackalope I think is great. But let me ask you this: what's your favorite bar?
Ooh,
You got a favorite bar in town?
bar. God, boy.
God, I used to,
It's hard.
back in the day.
Okay,
yes.
they say you're back in the day one. Like what was the bar that you just fucking loved? I love Roberts on Broadway, but
Yeah.
but that's if I'm on Broadway.
Yeah, if you're down there.
Yeah, then I'm Broadway.
But I'm not a big Broadway guy.
no.
I've got two that I can think of right now. I live in Lenox Village, and right down the street from like Nolensville. There's a place down there called Happen Chance, and it's like a craft cocktail place.
Yes.
You know this place?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one
Okay.
good.
It's next to the pizza place right in the little strip mall. Happen Chance. Great cocktails, craft cocktails. Love that place. And there's another one next to Gray's on Main in downtown Franklin. It's called Oh Be Joyful.
Oh, I've heard of that.
It's owned by the same people. It's in the same building. There's like one wall. You know, it's like really tiny. It's really narrow and
Yep.
stuff. Same kind of thing. Great cocktails, craft cocktails, and you go those kinds of places. I like.
You love that.
I do love that.
I need to brush really harder with Franklin because Franklin is awesome.
Downtown Franklin's cool.
Yeah.
I love.
There's a lot of good stuff.
And we're not doing as much as we should down there.
You know,
There's
I've
a tap
always-
room down there too. There's a little tap room.
Tap room.
Yeah, a little
I
beer
gotta,
tap
I
room
gotta
down
get
there.
these freaking kegs up here.
Yep.
That's when I
I've
keep the
always
kegs.
told friends, you know,
You put them in. You bring them. We'll put them in the car. We'll drive them around. Hey,
Got these in your mouth.
Deep South Carolina. You got a keg now.
Listen to me. Well, go ahead, sir.
no, I said, I got, you know, you get friends come in town. They're like, hey, hit Broadway. I'm like, yeah, fun. But I'll tell you, the one place that I will always go to, because the history, you walk in there, and I'm a history guy. Freaking Tootsie's.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I just see everyone from Charleston that tried to be a country star that came up here and lived here.
Sure.
They all played at Tootsie's.
yeah.
And I walk in there and be like, Tyler, hey, man.
Yeah.
Or the Tin Roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tin Roof. Yep.
Because the Tin Roof's a chain. There's Tin Roofs in South Carolina.
Yeah, I used to work down on Music Row though, but you know, we used to always go down to Tin Roof, get off work, and
Yeah.
head on down there.
What,
And-
the one, Demumbrian?
Yeah,
Oh, I think that one used to rock. And
Yeah.
now you go in there, it's like a ghost town.
yeah. Well, and for me, I mean, it goes back. I haven't worked down there in like 20 years.
Okay.
But yeah, we used to go down to Tin Roof all the
What'd you do on
time.
Music Row?
I used to work in radio.
Okay, dude, I love radio.
Yeah.
I can name the call letter signs on so many stations. I'm a AAA artist,
Okay.
so I have messed with rock because
Yeah.
my opinion, rock like Shinedown, good example.
Yep.
Back in the day, like Colt 40 or was it Down of 45, like
Yeah.
the old album that's like the
Yeah.
big one. I call that butt rock. And that's the term I call it. Like
Yeah.
it's not it is active rock, stations. But it's like butt rock. It was it's Five Finger Death Punch, all those bands. And then all of a sudden the music just changed, right? And so I would do really well sometimes when the music was a little harder. Like Eric Bass, he did a song of mine called "Getting High," and it's more like a Black Keys kind of song where the chorus is catchy, but it's like heavy. I did a couple rock campaigns where it was all Midwest because my opinion, what I heard from people is rock is dying for new bands, so they're pulling from AAA and they're bringing them into rock into the rock format. And so I would see myself charting on rock as an independent. It'd be like Hailstorm, Shinedown,
Yeah.
Tyler Boone. I go, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because I don't have like a crazy metal name, you know what I mean? But AAA, like Lightning 100, But in Charleston, there's a big
Yeah,
AAA called
yeah.
The Bridge, WCOO, But
Yeah.
but the rock one is WYBB. You know, I mean, here WROT, like KCSN in LA.
Yep.
They're the third biggest or second biggest AAA, and I used to mess with them all the time. KXFM in Malibu. So I love radio, and I think radio is still super important.
Yeah.
You got to have a lot of money to freaking chart. And actually, you can break a band for sure. You just got a lot of money to do it.
Well, it was funny. So my background was news. So I worked here. I worked at an AM station. It was a station called WLAC, and I did news there. In the station on Music Row, there were 5 other radio stations in the building. You had 105.9 The Rock, The River, WSIX, and then the urban station as well. And it was funny because sometimes you'd walk down the hallway and you'd hear about somebody that was in rock and roll or whatever being in the building, and it was like, oh, there's Billy Idol, walking down. One time it was David Lee Roth,
Whoa,
walking down the hallway, and I'm like, David Lee Roth, holy crap, So yeah, that was kind of a cool experiences. And then
that is cool.
I know for me when I first moved here, as a reporter, I would be going out and they would send me out. There was a funny story. I'd only been here maybe like a month in town, so 28, 29 years old, coming from Cincinnati, and I remember one day coming in, I looked at the assignment sheet and it said, cover a Garth Brooks news conference.
Wow.
And he had just come off a world tour, and I looked at the assignment sheet and I actually said to somebody, I said, am I going to get the freaking interview Garth Brooks? So I show up at this news conference, he had just come off a world tour, so there's media from all over the country there. And,
Yep.
I asked him some lame question like, are you happy to be home or whatever?
Yeah.
But I'd never done this before. I walked up to his publicist afterwards and I said, can I just meet him? I'm just a fan. Can I just meet him? And he came up to me afterwards, shook my hand, hey, how you doing or whatever. But I got to interview, some of the country singers in town, some others. Everybody was always cool.
Sure.
The coolest person to me was the Oak Ridge Boys. I mean, older band.
Yep.
But they listened to the station, and there was a guy for the Oak Ridge Boys. His name was Joe Bonzel. And, I mean, that was more my parents' generation. I didn't really listen to music. But he had written a book. He came up. He talked to me for like a half hour just about who I was.
Sure.
And I was like, this is kind of cool. I mean, this is like life experiences,
That is cool.
Yeah.
There's an AM station in Bardstown where they play music.
Yeah.
I always found that interesting, but maybe because it's a smaller market. Because isn't AM usually radio? Or, no, sorry, AM is usually like news.
Bardstown, Kentucky?
Yeah.
I used to work in that area.
Yeah, and there's a station we parked next to it. I was there 2 weeks ago. My buddies, I pissed off my girlfriend because I was like, hey, I'm coming on.
It is rare.
I was like, I'm coming on Friday. And also my buddy's like, we're flying in. And so we did the whole Bourbon Trail.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm coming on Monday. But there's a station I used to drive up from Nashville to Kentucky and do it. And we parked right next to it. I was like, oh, they play music. So it's kind of rare when an AM station does
It
that.
is. Yeah. I worked at a country music station in the mid-'90s. And that whole area.
Oh, but isn't the Opryland AM and they
WSM AM, yeah.
That's AM and they do music. So,
yeah, and I don't think they'll ever change.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what they're known for.
Well, and I think years ago there was rumors that maybe they were going to change formats.
Sure.
And Vince Gill showed up at the station,
He's
like
not
outside,
happening.
and he's picketing. He's like, I'm protesting, man. This ain't going to happen.
Sure.
And I don't know if he was like the influence of it, but it was like, this is the freaking station
freaking Vince
that runs
Gill,
the Grand Ole Opry. Yeah.
I mean, I think people just know. You got to turn the AM station that's there. Maybe it's better to be the one station that's AM that plays music, and everyone goes to the AM one. You know
Could
what I
be.
mean?
I don't know.
Because FM radio, man, it is hard because there's the alt rock stations, the rock stations, AAA. I think this is why I call AAA the spillover of top 40. So Noah Cohen, the biggest artist of AAA, because obviously he's top 40. You know what I mean? But top 40 is usually like Post Malone or something, right? And so now the top 40 or the spillover top 40 at AAA, like you are a god. Like you'll be selling out the Ryman if you're like the Revivalist. You know the Revivalist? I used to tour them a lot. But AAA could be Dave Matthews, Tom Petty to the next big hot band. You know what I mean? And so, what's the big festival, man? I've always wanted to play it, and I've always gotten close to getting on it, and then they don't do it. Live on the Green. Right there downtown.
They used to do it years ago.
They haven't done it for like 3 years. And I know Gary Crane, he's an awesome program director of Line 100, and I'm like, dude, what is it happening this year? He's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, damn it, because they can't get a good sponsor to help them out. And I'm like, it's always a sponsor, man. People don't realize that. oh, this is huge. It must have a lot of money. No, dude, you got to get like freaking Chevrolet to like drop $100,000 for it to happen. You know what I mean?
And Lightning 100 has always been a station that's had like this cult independent following because they're not like corporately owned and stuff like that. And I was a part of corporate downsizing, you know, like so many others in the world. And you know, not bitter about it or anything like that, but things have just changed.
You just reminded me. I have to get my radio blast ready for Friday. I forgot about that.
What's a radio blast?
It's the official way to give music to program directors, and I use All Access. You know All Access?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so Joel Denver. I'll say John Denver.
Yep,
Joel Denver.
Yep.
Dude,
well, I know of him. I don't know him.
He's a radio legend, dude. And I used to go to Malibu to his office before. I mean, dude, the fires destroyed all the whole place. But I used to go down there, bring pizza, and be like, "Can I work with you guys?" And they used to give me the best deals. And this guy John Schoenberger, he was the king of AAA promotion. And I charted once on AAA. And then you know when you email somebody, and then on your iPhone they call you, it says maybe blah.
Yeah.
It was Brian Corona. I always remember his name because Corona beer. Brian Corona. He was the AAA promoter for Atlantic Records. Called me. He was just in the middle of like grocery shopping. He goes, "Hey man, this is Brian Corona." I go, "Yeah." I was like, what? And he's like, how'd you chart? I use John Sherman. He goes, "Oh, that makes sense." And he goes, "I'm not signing you because I can't do that. I'm the promoter. But I just want to say that's awesome that you charted somehow." And I was like, "Oh, what?" It was super cool. So anyway, I love radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be going to radio on Friday with AAA. I got to set that up.
I've been out of it for a long time. I got out of it like 18 years ago.
But I just love
you know,
radio.
Sadly, it's kind of changed a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when we
radio's not because dude, the internet fucked it up.
No, it's funny because we even talked about this. Like, I can go on a road trip and I can get in my car and I'm listening to podcasts, Brewery Underground Podcast.
Do you listen to your own podcast?
Yeah, I critique myself and you. No, mainly me.
Also, the Industry AF.
Exactly,
podcast.
that one too. Absolutely, thank you very much. Woo. And I can have my Waze app on, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, is it going to storm or something? I can just put my little radar app on.
Yeah.
Ask Scott how I was his best navigator up in like Cleveland.
Just glad he wasn't driving because he would have looked at the radar and
Wave.
drove.
Yeah, that's the best app. You're talking about Wave, right?
Waze.
Yeah, Waze.
Yeah,
Sorry, Waze.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it tells you like there's a cop over here, right? Yeah.
There was the best commercial years ago, and it was the cop saw the he was looking at the Waze and it said "cop here," and he goes, "Nope."
Are you a backseat driver?
No, no, not at all.
No, we just went through a hellacious storm, and he was like, "We're almost out of it. 45 minutes later, we finally got out."
No,
of it.
actually, I'm not. I try not to be.
Yeah. I never
No,
want to be
he's
that guy, but I sometimes do that. When I tour, I always drive.
Yeah.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, because I want everyone to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, we're getting there. Piss in the can. No, I'm just kidding. Like,
No, we were.
You'll pee when I have to.
Because when I go on tour, I pay my guys, and then they get paid well. I try to pay for most of their meals.
Yeah.
I basically create monsters because then they go on other tour. I had my old guitar. I love J.R. Spencer. He's my man. He came to Bardstown. The whole Kentucky trip we just did, where they just showed up, and me and him stayed an extra day. I go, "You want to stay an extra day?" He goes, "Fuck yeah, let's do it." And we pissed off his fiance and my girlfriend. But anyway, he called me. He goes, "Man, you dude, I just got to tell you, man, you treated us so well," because he's been in many bands since then, and he still tours me sometimes when I have a show like in Charleston or something. Or what? I have many different bands. I have like my LA band, which those guys are. I can put my guitar down and they can finish the song without me. I got my Nashville band where they're freaking awesome too, but I got my Charleston band and they're like the Shinedown guys, and it's like heavy rock, you know.
Yeah.
So if I know if the show needs that. You know what I mean? So I hire them.
Yeah.
And he told me, he's like, "Man, you treated us so you paid for everything, da-da-da." Because you go on other tours and go, "Oh, man, here's $30. You know what I mean? So you got to take care of your guys.
Yeah.
100%. But I like to drive, though, because what I'm getting at is it turns into a vacation for them.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, "Guys, we got to get going. We got to go." And they're like, "Oh, okay." You know.
We were actually talking about this recently. After our trip, we were like on the road 7 days together, and it's kind of like the
It was
perfect
4
match.
days too long.
Was it really? Was it that bad?
I'm just kidding.
No, I
It's
know
a
what
joke.
that.
It's a joke.
You're gonna be like, "I'm waiting 10 years for this." Bam!
No, it was really funny because I was like, he was driving on this trip and got into a really bad hellacious rainstorm up near Columbus, Ohio. And he's white knuckling it, and I'm like white knuckling, just watching it going. I'm glad I'm
But
not
not with the
driving.
plastic bag, though.
But
But we had
kill yourself.
We had a few years ago. We went up to Cincinnati. We had stopped at Louisville for the night, and got up early, and I'm driving, and I'm just like, let's get up there, and maybe I was a little hungover, and I'm driving, and we hit traffic, and my Waze app did not tell me there had been like a big major tie-up in downtown Cincinnati, and I'm like spewing every, F-bomb you could possibly imagine.
Sure.
And we get into an area, and I know the area. I said, get on your Waze app, type in this road. If I can get there, I can get us out of this.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we did. So we're those guys. We're not like we're not yelling at each other or anything like that.
No.
We just want to get the heck out of traffic.
Sure.
And we knew if there
We
was
had the child locks on. I couldn't throw myself out of the car.
like, I can't take this anymore.
You've seen was it The Office, or it's that movie where they destroy the printer? What is that?
Oh, Office Space.
Office Space,
Yes.
where the guy can't cuss, and he's like, motherfucking shit. He does it completely wrong every time. Yeah,
And he goes back to get it.
and the guy, the walker's going by him,
I think
my
it's a
God.
requirement if you drive in Nashville. that you have to
so
cuss.
the one thing I always skipped in LA too, I had a Nissan, so obviously there's a Nissan dealership everywhere. I came here, got a brand new Nissan because I had a 2018 with like 40,000 miles on it, because I didn't drive in LA ever because I worked from home unless I was doing other shit, And so I'd never experienced Nashville traffic, and I've never experienced LA traffic because I work from home.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend works at the State, and then she works at Fog Street, where
Yeah.
we all hung out. And I don't experience it, man. And so, but the days I do have to travel, I'm like, holy crap, this is bad.
Yeah, I do this every day.
You know what I mean? Obviously, when I'm touring, different. But I'm home. I don't commute anymore. I work from home.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, dude, this sucks.
It's a blessing. He does as well. It's a blessing to not have to
You
go.
work from home?
Yeah, but I mean, there was a time I've worked at the same company for years where I used to drive from like my house out to Brentwood, if you're familiar with that area.
Yeah.
And it was like 9 years. And it was just getting up earlier in the morning to get where I had to go, because if you didn't get out of where I was by 4 o'clock, I mean, you were sitting there for like another hour and a half.
Terrible.
There was 1 year it snowed in the afternoon. There was a couple inches of snow, just fell real quick. And I looked outside, it started snowing, and it's kind of like Godzilla is coming towards the building, and people are running out to their cars. Yeah, and I waited.
Push each other down.
Yeah, I waited like an hour. I'm like, northerner, I'll get home. It took me 4 hours to get home, and I'm like, I could have gone to Atlanta in this time.
Well, can I tell you a funny story about getting caught in the snow? Hall's Chop House, you been there yet on West End?
No.
So it's a Charleston, South Carolina staple.
Okay.
And so there's 4 of them in South Carolina. This is coming to it next. And buddy Justin runs one in Greenville. I love Justin. He's a shit. And Fall for Greenville, amazing festival. I headlined that last year with Victor Wooten, bass player. Anyway, he's awesome. But blah, blah, what I'm getting at is I was at Hall's Chop House, and it started snowing. I was like, oh, then screw it. I'm just staying, dude. You know what I mean? Because it was around 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was there meeting about this. And so I was like, well, I'm going to just chill. And then there was like no one at the bar. And I hear this guy, there's like maybe 5 people. And down the bar guy goes, yeah, I own a bourbon company. I go, dude, I'm a little drunk. I'm like, me too. He goes, really? You'll love this story because I really screwed myself. And so I was like, dude, me too. Who's your distributor? Let me go, me too. So we sat next to each other, and the bartenders were all hanging out. And I was like, mine's not here yet, but it's about to be here. And I had my bottle there. And I go, yeah, man, so tell me about yours. And we're talking about it. And I was like, I was drunk, dude. And I've learned to like shut my mouth after that for sure. Because you never know who you're talking to.
Right.
And so I was just like, some people age their shit on boats, like Jefferson's Ocean. And I'm like, that's kind of a silly gimmick. He goes, I aged mine on the Mississippi River. I go, dude, that is so cool. Like, and he literally walked away. I was like, oh shit. Because mine's on the Mississippi River. That's where I aged mine. I was like, oh yeah, totally, dude. That's cool. And then I came to find out Littman owns a piece of it. I was like, oh my God, I felt so stupid. And the bartender's like, you fucked up. I was like, yeah.
It's funny.
I'm not gonna say the name of it, but whatever.
Mississippi's way better than the ocean.
Yeah. When you get those Jefferson's Ocean bottles, it says like Voyage,
I
whatever.
know.
I'm like,
Stupid.
who gives a shit?
It is so stupid.
Well,
I don't care.
Brad Paisley has one called like, it's got a truck on it. It's called like Highway Bourbon or something, and they age it on his tour bus. I'm like, no, they don't. You know what I mean? So
It's
yeah. I'm like, that's so dumb.
I don't get the gimmick.
But everyone's looking for a gimmick to make your brand cool. You know what I mean?
Or maybe there may be some truth to, hey, we are trying to age it quicker and we're trying to be truthful about it, but
Sure.
it's not really as romantic as you think it is. It's not in a barrel sloshing around on the ocean. It's not doing
Well, I think okay, like 2015, bourbon really had I was like, what's Angel's Envy? What's Elijah Craig? What's all this? And then everybody started getting into it.
Yeah.
You go to any liquor store, you're like, what are all these brands? And now it's harder for a brand unless you got some roots where they just walk right by it and they just buy the E.H. Taylor or something. You know what I mean? So what about beer though? Is that kind of like that, or is everyone always looking for something new to try? Because I feel like a lot of breweries, they come up with their new release because that's them trying to like make it more fun.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I drink beer. I love drinking beer singles. When I go to Main Street, I love buying singles and new ones because I use Untapped. And I want a new one every single time if I can get it.
Sure.
And there are a lot of really good beers out there. This one right here in front of us. But when I go buy beer, I like to get new ones because I like my numbers to go up on Untapped.
Word. Okay.
But not also that, but also I'm trying different things at the same time, whether it be a sour or a new IPA or something. So I'm trying something new all the time. They're not always good, but I'm getting new stuff all the time. So that's how I like to drink beer. I don't think most people are like that.
Yeah.
I think most people will go get 4-packs, a 6-pack, or a case of something that they like.
Sure.
But I think when you're in a liquor store, Main Street's a good example. They used to have, what's the one? Not Shiner.
Shiner Bock?
Yeah, Shiner Bock.
Shiner Bock, yeah.
No, it was Lone Star.
Yeah.
They would keep cases of Lone Star.
Because everyone wanted it?
Yes.
Interesting.
And they would come in there and they would clean up.
I like Lone Star.
And I think that's the thing. It's like it's one of those things you can't normally get. Coors Banquet's another one of those things.
I love Coors Banquet.
Right. Coors Light all day long, right?
I
Anywhere
love
you
that.
want to go. But Coors Banquet's one of those things you can't always get. So people go in and clean up on it.
Yeah, they do.
So, yes.
I've been seeing a lot of liquor stores lately posting now that it's summer. They're not posting their bourbons. They're posting, hey, we got a whole stack of this. Come on down.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Get the light stuff. Get some stuff refreshing.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So you mentioned something earlier, and we're jumping around again. Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah.
And I love that band.
My buddy Hoogie's now their tech.
Is he?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Hoogie on the road. He's awesome.
They're doing something. I didn't realize this until just like 2 or 3 days ago. They are re-recording their music,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
just like Taylor Swift did.
Oh, that's what I thought you were going at.
It's exactly. She did the whole thing, re-recorded it because of the
Big
previous,
Machine, Scooter Braun, they bought her masters. Yeah.
She ultimately bought them back recently. She got them all back.
Yep.
It's fine. Five Finger Death Punch is doing that exact same thing. They actually have 2 or 3 releases right now.
They have hardcore fans.
Of their previous songs. They're doing the same, and they even gave her credit, Taylor Swift credit, as
like,
in,
hey, we were doing this.
we're doing the same thing because she got screwed. Thankfully, she got her stuff back and she did the whole thing. So they're doing the same thing, which I think is really cool. And what's cool about it, it's the same songs but they got a nice little twist to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, now they're probably different players.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, they're same guys, but they play different. They
Yep.
got more ideas to it. When I saw Fire the Death Punch, my gosh, it was cold. So it was like October, I think, of last year or something. I thought they were awesome because one biggest thing with live music is in Fire the Death Punch, I was blown away. They had laser shows going on.
Yeah.
It's all about the live show, too.
Yeah.
Like, that band, they are so... I mean, I'm not the biggest Five Finger Death Punch fan, but, man, they kill it live.
Right. And Ivan's a great front man, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
interacting
He was
with
up there
crowd.
wearing like a Tennessee jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. They're doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
For the same exact reason Taylor Swift
Yeah,
did
there's
it.
probably
And I
some
don't know
terrible deal within their, That's how I'm in a label advance deal with all my music at the moment. I don't make any money from it because I took like a $50,000 advance deal. No, it wasn't a record label, so there's no services with it. So I just got a check up front, and it was the dumbest thing I ever did. But I get it back in 2 years. I'll get all my music back, and I was like, and I learned a cheap lesson, where I had a record deal with Big Machine when I was 27. Maybe I should have taken it because I worked with, because he's got a whiskey too. It's
it's a vodka. He does a vodka.
Borchetta. That's his
Okay,
last
does
name.
it whiskey too? Okay.
Yeah, Borchetta. And so maybe I should have done it because I could have been friends with him, and that could have been a cool relationship. But I didn't do it. But those record label deals, man. If you are not a big country. My buddy Arliss, he was a guest on here. He was our first one. He got Jamie Johnson's first record deal at RCA. He's still his tour manager. Jamie Johnson's never had like a lot of radio success, but he's this huge artist. If someone wanted to, he did have record deals. He definitely charted #1 a lot of times, but you don't hear his music on the radio all the time. That's what I'm saying. And so if you're this big artist where like you have so much more to like, leverage, what I mean? But when you're a younger artist, you're taking the deal because like, oh my God, MTV or whatever you're thinking of. You're like, I'm gonna be famous. And so the deals are always terrible. They're always bad. The artists always get screwed because it's the music business.
Yep. And as I'm thinking of it, I think what happened was just like they sold their masters. Whoever owned the stuff just sold the masters out from underneath.
And you
them.
never want to sell your master.
Right.
You never want to sell your master.
But the distributor or the label just sold it out from under it, where they had no option to even buy it.
Yeah, because now what's coming into music is investment groups. So, like, what's the guy from Jersey?
John Bon Jovi?
No, but
Springsteen.
Oh, yeah.
He sold his stuff recently. Now he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now, like, Tom DeLonge from Blink-182, he sold his masters for like $500 million because he needed it for his like crazy alien company that's going to stars. You know what I mean? And so he needed the money. You know what I mean? And so now that's coming into music. And so that's why it's all changing. Where like, wait, I think what it is these investment companies come in and they go, we got to get something for our investors. Hey, we just bought some masters from this record company. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's
Which means, but they can do what? Put them on commercials and put them in movies because they got to get a payback.
Syncs is the biggest thing in the world. If you want to make money in music, touring, and then syncs.
Okay.
100%. Like when I got the Fox Sports NASCAR one, I remember I was with my parents. James Fro, my buddy, he's been my bass player in my LA band forever. And out of Charleston, I was with him. I was like, we're at my parents' house just chilling out. I was like, I just got this email from Fox Sports. Holy shit. And my dad just being like a dad. Ask for more money. And so I was like, I want more money. And literally they responded back like, take it or not. Like, because I had no leverage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I got like $1,200 each time they used it, which it added up. But I'm just saying Syncs is the best because every time it was opening day for NASCAR, every time it was opening for NASCAR, they used it on TV.
Okay. You got paid every time?
Every time. Yeah. And then now I still get a residual from BMI. That's my pro.
Okay.
BMI, ASCAP, CSEC, those are like the three biggest ones. But if you want to make money in that, it's syncs and video games. Like if you get a song in like FIFA World Sports, like you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Just
so
over and over.
that's the biggest thing is syncs, but it's hard to get it. It's really hard to get a sync.
Somebody's got to, I would think somebody behind the scenes marketing something has to put those together and find a random song or find something that works perfectly.
It's like a champion. It's like a distributor. They have to champion you. You can get a sync deal, and I have many of them.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a couple weird ones that paid like $400. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I had a big guy, well, actually, I had a big one years ago, and this is how screwed the music industry is. I took the YouTube deal out of TuneCore, which is a distribution company, which I still have my back catalog on them. I clicked the YouTube button, and this is a huge thing in the music industry back in the day. If you let someone third party your publishing, that means they control all your sync deals. And so I had to deal with Lionsgate Films in 2017, actually with this song, Front Page Show. And on the back of that, I couldn't get it because TuneCore owned it. And it was like $10,000, and I was so poor living here when I was 25, and that would have changed my life. You know what I mean? And so syncs are huge. You know what I mean? And so you always want a non-exclusive deal.
Okay.
If you take an exclusive deal, that means you can only work with that sync rep, and then guess what, man? You can be going up, and the sync rep leaves, and no one gives a fuck about you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
so
then
the non-exclusive gets you out to everybody.
non-exclusive, you can just sign with anybody.
Yeah, okay.
And that's how you should always do it. And now they're starting to realize no one's going to take a deal unless it's non-exclusive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But back in the day, the major, you put stars in your eyes. Oh, exclusive deal? That means you're going to care about me? And you signed it, and then you screwed yourself.
10 minutes later or whatever.
And you're like, anything happening? And like, oh, he left. You're like, oh, shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then you're like, well, you got a contract, you can't leave. So it's crazy, man. The music, you never want to sell your master for sure. Never want to do that.
No.
And I did not do that with my label, Vance. It's just based off sales.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I own my master. I can do whatever I want with it. But that was the deal I took. You know what I mean? So here, a lot of kids come here from Ohio or some shit, and they're like, I want to be a star, and they'll sign the dotted line. You know, Tootsie's and all those bars on Broadway, they mess with all those players down there, and Tootsie's got called out, I think. I don't care what I talk about. I think it was Tootsie's, but I could be wrong. Let's just say it was one of the bars on Broadway. They were giving their artists their management deals, and they go, we're going to manage you, and you can't work with anybody because they thought they were creating artists, and bands were signing it, and then a record label come in, want to sign it, go, no, you're signing at Tootsie's. Crazy. You know what I mean?
What would Tootsie's do with that?
I don't know if it was Tootsie's. Sorry if it's wrong.
Yeah, or
Tootsie's.
what would that particular place
Well, no,
do with
they
that?
just thought like, hey, we're creating you as an artist.
Yeah.
You belong to us now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
If they got paid, meanwhile, they weren't doing anything for the artist.
Yeah,
probably.
none. But they owned you. You know what I mean?
In case
So
you
the,
went and got
the
paid.
music bit, but you know, man, you can always get a lawyer. A contract can always get broken.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
sure.
So,
Costs you money.
yeah, but it costs you money. And
Yeah.
usually artists don't have it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
You had a fun thing. You've had a lot of fun things, I'm sure, in your life. And I love the show Vice Principals.
Yeah, I know
where
what
I'm
you're
going
talking
with
about.
this.
Dude, that clip went viral.
I love this damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was you until you had posted something about it recently.
Yeah.
So the show Vice Principals on HBO with Danny
You know what I'm
McBride,
talking about?
Walton
Yeah.
Goggins. I
Funny-
love the
funny
Goggins.
clip.
It
First of all,
is.
those two together amazing, right?
Walton
Righteous
Goggins.
Gemstones.
He was. Daniel Bright lives in Charleston.
Does he?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was all filmed in Charleston.
That's right, because he moved down there to shoot the whole.
Because there's a tax credit. Was it Forrest Gump? That's why they filmed it there. 'Cause
Okay.
The tax credits are huge.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bride has a tequila, and we're about to put on a show in Charleston it's called Don Gato tequila. It's got like what's Jack Black? What's the movie he did where he's like a priest and Nacho Libre.
No, okay.
And they're all fighting with all the mask on it, and so that's Daniel Bride's. But go ahead. Anyway.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so I didn't know this. I know the show. You put a post out, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, maybe, and you're in the show. You get to yell at Walton Goggins.
So do you know what the scene is? So
He's in like a carnival or something. You explain it. You were there.
No. So it's a high school. I used to run. He runs track and cross country. I used to run there. I think I had my best PR time there too, man. It was my mile was correct me if I'm wrong, 5 minutes fast, right? So I was a 4:40, but I was 15.
440 might be a world record, but yeah.
No, like right, 5 minutes is fast, right?
Yeah.
So then was it a 5:40? No. I did like a 4:40 mile.
He was fast.
That's Olympic.
No. I swear to God, did like a 4:40 one time, but it was during
That's crazy.
Hey, there's alcohol involved. He was fast.
But it was during cross country, so it wasn't my mile. It was like they clicked it in at that. And I was like, oh my God, they could have been wrong. I swear to God, Taylor, don't make me feel bad about it.
He's gonna look it up.
It's not Olympic. All the guys in South Carolina were doing like 450s. Anyway, whatever, Tyler. We'll move on from it. I swear to
Thanks
God.
for backing him up, Taylor.
You know, man. I'm gonna look it up and find it, and then we're gonna fight. No, anyway. So I did a really fast mile there, and I was like, oh my God, we're back at the track. And what the scene is they're fighting over a cooler with acid in it. It's a silly show, and they don't want to spike the other team, so they feel bad about it.
Right.
So him and Daniel Bryan Wongans are fighting over it, and then it goes on them. They go, "Oh my God, we got to get out of here!" It absorbs through the skin, and so they're tripping on acid, walking out. And so I was an extra. My twin brother was the casting director, and so he's like, "Hey man, you're about to move to Nashville. If you need a gig, come on down. You can be an extra." And so my first day on set, they go, "Hey, you guys are twins. We need people the same height for the scene." So I got upgraded to an actual actor. And so all the extras, Charleston's not a big film area.
Right.
So everyone there is like, I'm an extra. I might make it. You're not. You know what I mean?
You never know.
You're just an extra.
Yeah.
And so everyone thought I was an actor. And I was like, I'm not an actor. But everyone assumed I was because I was with Walton Goggins. And so the scene was I was supposed to walk and go, woo, with my horns on. And he's tripping on acid. And as he turns, my twin brother's in a CGI devil costume where it screams at him. So he's in that costume, but they kind of alter it, post edit. And so that scene took 8 hours because it just did. And so we probably left at like 7 a.m. Him and Daniel Bride were like drinking. They were kind of getting pissed off. It was just taking forever. And so then, it's supposed to be mic'd. And so they go, dude, all of them, and they're like, you're getting $1,000 a day. I was like, oh my God, because I had a line just going, woo. And so, but they forgot to mic me. And so I went to check out. And they go, oh, you get $75. I was like, bro, you don't understand. I need that money. I'm moving to Nashville next week. It was crazy, but that was cool. No one cared about that show. But then definitely Righteous Gemstones. And then now Walton Goggins being in what's that show he's in now?
He was in White Lotus.
White Lotus. This was the last one. So then all of a sudden, everything he did.
Yeah.
And now, so that clip
Oh,
kind of
he's
popped up.
so brilliant. I loved him in Justified. You go even back further with Timmy Oliphant.
Yeah. But he's like the biggest actor in the world right now.
He's amazing.
Just did SNL.
He's so good.
Yeah, that was cool. That was just a random moment. It was really neat.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then I was just standing for the rest of the show. So I hung around the whole time. Being a stand-in, the stand-in's like where they get you kind of look like them, I guess, and then you get out of set, and then because the camera's ready for them, and so I got paid quite a bit every day.
Yeah.
And then so you're eating craft food every day, so that was pretty sweet.
Right.
Where you're having like literally like creme brulee and like lobster tail, and
Oh, God.
and all the extras are having like hot dogs and spaghetti. And so then I got fired. And so then I was on set, and everyone just liked me and my brother. And all the writers like, we like you guys, come in over here. And they rented a house. They blacked out all the windows because they're getting ready for the lights. And so we all like fell asleep because it was just, we were there last night till 1 a.m. We're back at 8. And so we all kind of knocked out with the writers. They're asleep too. But the head director, who is also in Righteous Gemstones, he's a guitar player. That's the director. You know what I'm talking about? He's got the long hair. Have you seen that show?
What's the show?
Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it.
So the guy with the long hair, that's like the guitar player.
Yeah.
So he's the director.
He's the director. Okay.
Yeah, so he's the director. So he just pops in the show sometimes. He had to go do a movie, and so this other director from Italy came in, and I think he just made an example of me. I fell asleep. He walked in. You're fired. Get off set. And everyone's really upset. They're like, "Oh my!" I was like, "Dude, I'm moving to Nashville. I don't give a shit." Yeah. So, but that was a really cool experience. My only time with film. That was really fun.
It was really cool because I remember that you run up and you go, "Woo!"
That's awesome.
So cool.
It was pretty
The faces painted.
Yeah, like I was supposed to be a high school kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun,
great.
man. That's cool. You saw that. I mean, dude, that clip is like all over the place. People use it on TikTok and shit.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I gotta love it.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Again, I didn't know it was you until you had posted that, and I had seen the show. Like, I loved the show, and I was like, oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't know that, but the fact that you brought it up, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, it was
my
cool
man.
shit.
That's my
Yeah. I'll post it now and then be like, I was in this. You know?
There you go.
I love the song you do, When I Was Young.
Oh, cool.
And I'm a dope because I think I texted you one point, like, hey, man, love the new song. You were like, hey, it came out in 2016. But that's what it happened. That
Way to
literally.
be current
I
there,
know.
Scott.
I know. However,
I love
there was
it too.
he loves it now. Now he loves it.
No, I'm talking about him. Yeah, you. Yeah, I loved it like
10 years ago.
9 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago.
But it was a re-release. In my defense, there was a re-release or something, right?
2018.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's 28. Damn it. I didn't even save myself. But that re-release that I had seen, and we just talked about it earlier before we came on mics, was When I Was Younger. That was the one I think I came across. Yeah.
Yep.
Had a heavier riff. So it's two different, it's the same song, or two different versions
Just slightly different.
of it. And the second, or the re-release, charted, right? Or something, or just kind of shot up. Remember?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it charted number one.
Recently.
Charted number one on Amazon for a day.
Yeah.
On bestsellers. In rock.
From a song that was from 2016.
Yeah, so the When I Was Younger is 2018, When I Was Younger is 2016, but the 2018 version charted number one on Amazon.
Okay.
But goes to show you, it's all about the song.
Right.
The song can be, well, I think blues rock, you can be an old dude. Well, there's a great band here. Check them out. Piper and the Hard Times.
Okay.
Older dudes, new band, and they just won Best Blues Band, International Blues thing in Memphis. It's just, if the music's good, the music's good.
Yeah.
And blues is cool. It's Bill Burr has a good quote saying, if you want bubblegum results, you're a pop star. But if you want to be like a rock artist, like that's like a long tread with loyal fans. You know what I mean? So I think you can do anything that's cool if it's rock, but it just might take a long time for it to catch on.
The vibe of that song is really cool. There's a cadence to it, which I think is why I fell in love with it.
Sure.
It was like, and I was young.
It only took him 9 years to catch up.
Hey, man.
I never knew. But that's just rock music.
Yeah,
You know what I
It
mean?
was, but once I heard it, I was like, I'm on board.
He's
And
on board.
Well, Creed, they had a resurgence. The guy was living in a hotel, and then I think when people were using his music in TikTok during COVID,
Yeah.
now Creed's the biggest band in the world right now.
They are. They're
Yeah.
back touring again.
Yeah.
And look, Alter Bridge is my favorite brand.
I loved
That-
Alter Bridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're still going to be there. They're doing this other thing now. But
Yep.
the fact that Creed is back too is just even better. 'Cause
Yeah, Mark Tremonti, the guitar player, just. Oh, dude! What?
That's Mark Tremonti.
Oh my God, dude! So we're speaking your language here.
Is the camera big enough?
Yeah. Shit. I lifted today.
What's that one right there?
I saw you doing push-ups outside before we started.
Just before we started.
So yeah,
Tremonti's,
I
yeah.
love that band.
I know.
The
such
first,
great
the
musicians.
first album was so good. So good. I used to have that in my little Chevy S10 with the 10 disc CD changer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
10 disc.
Oh, yeah.
My parents got a Jeep Wrangler, a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and we thought we were the richest people in Charleston. Well, we grew up in a town called Goose Creek, but it's outside of Charleston.
When you
We
get a
thought we were
button
cool.
and just play any song you want, or
Yeah.
skip to a CD that
We
you
thought
want.
we can make.
Wow, we're pretty big time right here. Yeah.
Oh,
I had a
shit.
77 Camaro, and I had one mounted in the trunk.
Yeah, that's what we had.
I had the cable all the way into the front. I had a little display on there. But right.
We thought we were the shit.
Trying to be innovative back then.
Yeah.
When you go live, when you do a live show, do you have any pre-show rituals that you like to do before you go out there on stage?
100% take a shot of whiskey
Yeah?
all the time. Just one.
Does it matter what the whiskey is?
No, just
okay.
whatever's. I usually bring
Okay.
this with me, but
Yeah.
I think it calms your nerves down.
Okay.
You know, but I have gone on stage a little tipsy before. I'll put it that way, and it's really stupid to do.
Yeah.
Because you're like having fun backstage, and you're like, oh shit. You know what I mean?
I still have, I have a job to do still.
Yeah,
at the end of-
totally.
Yeah.
But always a shot of whiskey.
Okay.
Go to the bathroom like 3 times.
'Cause
You don't want to have to go pee on stage.
you want to time that just right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
You don't have to go while you're out
But
there.
I think I was always funny. You get everybody else because like I've seen some bands where the lead guy's like really like, be ready, and the band's like, okay, I'm getting paid. But like for us, it's a party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So always like a shot.
Any idea at this point, since you started touring, how many tours you've done?
Tours, not a ton where it's like a tour.
Yeah.
But you can call me like a weekend warrior.
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
I'm like, hey, we're gonna do this run. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But shows, man, I don't know. When I was doing full-time music, I was doing like 3-4 nights a week.
Nice.
And so BMI Live is a thing where you get paid now when you play shows. Man, I thought I was the richest guy in the world. I was getting like a couple grand every BMI check. And living in Charleston, my rent was $400. And so I was like, oh, this is it. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
But then I saw guys that were older that were in Charleston, like trying to make it. And like they don't look too healthy because they're drinking all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I need to do something else to like where I don't have to always be playing because there's always a bar tab or something. You're like, oh, fuck it, I'll have a drink. And then like it's a cycle. And you're not eating really good food. You're eating like chicken tenders. And so eventually I was like, okay, I can't do this all the time. But I definitely played a lot of shows, but it got my playing up for sure, where I can play for hours.
And there's only so many artists out there that have, like the big time tour buses and the chefs on the buses that are cooking them. Every
Yeah. The good food.
Yeah, the good food.
Yeah, it's tough when you tour. You always try to find good food. If I see a Panera Bread, I'm like, guys, we got to stop and eat.
Yeah.
It's slightly better.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I love Panera Bread.
I do, yeah.
Like
Love Panera.
They have good choices in there. You can make good choices.
When I do tours where I'm like driving all week, meeting other accounts, Panera Bread all day, and then I'll keep the cup in the car so I don't pay for another soda. You know what I mean? So
Scott and I were on
I do know what you
our
mean.
baseball.
yeah, I do that shit all the time.
Scott and I were on our baseball and brewery tour recently, and we were, I think we were leaving like Cleveland or something, and we were trying to figure out like where we go for breakfast, and we were laughing. I'm like, there's like a Perkins or an IHOP, but wait, there's Panera. So yeah, we Panera.
There were
Yeah.
3 or 4 things that were like, Panera.
Hey,
Yes.
Panera.
Always, dude. Yeah. I think you're a psycho if you eat Taco Bell during the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what?
That's a late night.
It's a late night food. thing.
Ask him what I think of Taco Bell, but
What do you think of Taco Bell?
But he doesn't. He's not a big fan of the Taco Bell.
I love Taco Bell at night.
At night.
it's
At
the
night,
best.
maybe at night.
No, I think it's the shit, dude. Like you get a whole bunch of random different things for like $10.
yeah.
Well, now
And then drink some
it's like
whiskey and
$20.
have some Taco Bell.
Yeah, my girlfriend's Latina. She's Mexican.
All right,
She hates Taco Bell. She's like, this is not. I'm like, no, this is good shit.
Yeah, but I can
Yeah.
get it at 1 a.m. if I want.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man, this is good shit. But living in LA, oh man, the Mexican food there was so good.
There's no Waffle House on the road.
Well, in the southeast, hell yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah,
but out there it was Denny's.
We actually were
California.
talking about
Saw
that when
Denny's.
we were traveling through
Saw
Ohio.
Denny's.
and
Or IHOP.
somehow, yeah, IHOP and Denny's
Yep.
came up,
Yep.
and we both got. I'm like, I think the last time I went to a Denny's was many years ago, and I was with a buddy of mine, and like the waitress sneezed on our food, and I never went back. I said,
I don't want mayonnaise. She takes your sandwich, just wipes it off. Here you go. Fuck. You know what I mean? Yeah, Denny's is gross.
IHOP would be tolerable.
IHOP is cool. I live in front of IHOP in LA on Wilshire, which is like the longest road, goes from Santa Monica downtown.
Yeah.
And there's an IHOP in front of us, and it was decent. You know what I mean?
Okay, yep.
You know what I mean? But I love Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell.
All right.
Completely unrelated, but In-N-Out Burger is coming here. How do you feel about that being?
Yeah, and then
have living in
In-N-Out Burger? Oh my god, I can't wait.
Headquarters are moving here.
Really?
Yes, in
'cause
Franklin.
they're all leaving California. Dude, R&DC, like I mentioned earlier, major corporations leaving California. They're all leaving. I love California though. I want to move back one day.
Okay.
So, but In-N-Out, can't wait, man.
Will it live up to the hype? Because I've never had an In-N-Out Burger, and they will be here.
You ever had?
I've never had either.
You ever had Jack Brown's?
No, Jack Brown. Oh yeah, Jack Brown's Burger. Yeah.
It's very simple.
Okay.
Where it's got like
Those are
that,
fantastic.
that like kind of like Thousand Island sauce on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that. But In-N-Out, dude, is so good. You know how much a manager makes in California? Like 120 grand a year.
What?
Yeah, because they're just printing money. It's like Chick-fil-A. It's
Yeah.
like ching, ching, ching.
I realize I'm going to get laughed at here, and the only reason I know this is because I've been told this by other people. Since Buc-ee's is such a big phenomenon,
Buc-ee's is cool.
and you can go to Buc-ee's and apparently be like a big general manager of a Buc-ee's and make like 130 grand a year.
No,
or
dude,
something.
something's up to $250,000.
$250,000.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of nowhere.
Car
and it-
wash
and it had out
manager.
there and it said, "Here's the salary for all the positions," and the GM was like, "But I'm sure you live there."
No, that's the
You know
thing.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're like, dude, I'm in some gambling debt. I gotta get a job at Buc-ee's.
Well,
and
you
pay
know,
this
you-
shit.
I have an ex-wife. I'll just live at the Buc-ee's now.
I went to Buc-ee's for the. I had
I
Buc-ee's.
went.
I had Buc-ee's for the first time in the past year. Yeah, first time ever in the past
She'll
year.
never
I had
hear
Buc-ee's.
this.
You went in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. You walk in there, it's a lot of mouth breathers. They're all just kind of like, you know, you're like, dude, get the fuck out of my way. I'm trying to get a Gatorade. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of
Knuckle
mouth
draggers.
Just like, it is. Every time I go there, I'm like, dude, geez, it's so wild. But
I
Buc-ee's is
spent a total
cool. Yeah.
20 minutes in Buc-ee's, and you know what? You know what I purchased there? Only for myself. So I had some family that loved Buc-ee's, and I got them a gift card or whatever, and beaver nuggets.
Yeah, I bought my girlfriend the little squirrel or whatever it is, the
Yeah.
beaver. Yeah, I bought
You know what I got? I collect shot glasses,
Oh, cool.
and I went in there and I'm like, maybe Buc-ee's has shot glasses.
They totally do.
I have a Buc-ee's shot glass.
Nice.
Oh,
Cool. They got like the pulled pork and the praline.
That I had to. I had the pulled pork
praline.
sandwich. They got one up north of Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yeah, they
so
do,
I had
yeah.
to stop in there. And,
It's just funny though. When you go in there, the gas is cheap. Every time I see a bucket,
Yeah.
you just go in. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
yeah.
You know. But the general manager makes like $250,000.
Yeah.
I'd probably say the highest they make, but it's not wild.
It is wild.
It is
I think,
wild.
Yeah, I think the car wash manager makes a shit ton too. Yeah.
You know. But would you want to work there?
No.
I don't know. Are the brisket sandwiches free?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They got great bathrooms.
I think the one cool thing to make, I mean, like Taylor's doing it like with content. Content's cool. If you can keep doing it, I mean, maybe hopefully one day you guys start making some cash with this.
hopefully.
You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
just, but it's all about video. You got to
yeah.
get the clips.
Yep.
It's like you see comedians, like no one watches the full set.
You're
they just,
right.
They just watch the clips.
Yeah, people talk about how they selling out arenas. It's not from. It's
the clips.
It's the clips.
Jeff Dye, love that guy. He just did Zanies recently, and I was like, oh my god, it's him. I see him all the time on Instagram. I went to Zanies and saw that.
Yeah.
Tyler Fisher, he was another guy that blew up through like TikTok, just doing stupid shit. And then
Yeah.
now the guy's like, I've seen his stuff on Instagram. He's like, he lives like in $1 million house in Austin. You know what I mean? So it's kind of wild, man. We live in a crazy world. Coming up, I was like, dude, like, you know, internet, whatever. Now it's like
I know.
everyone's gunning for it.
Yeah.
Even our dumb shit that we do is like, I'm not doing social media. What we do, we're not doing social media.
And then
Fuck, you have to.
And then you do it.
You have to.
Yeah.
You know, I was never a TikTok guy.
daily.
I started really getting TikTok about 2 months ago, and now it's starting to pop off. I'm like, fuck, I guess I'm a TikTok
no,
guy.
I got to keep this thing up.
Yeah, but you know what, man? It does turn into things. I mean, we met. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
you start. Oh, okay. Let's give a shout out to everybody.
Yep.
Armando, right?
Our boy Armando, and
Yeah.
I was going to bring up, yes, Armando takes fantastic pictures. By the way, we both
Some
know
great
him.
pictures of that.
Cheers to Armando.
Yeah. Cheers to you guys.
He's a big cheers to you,
Cheers, sir.
Taylor
Taylor?
back there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
He's in overtime.
I think every time I come here, I'm the only reason you drink while I'm doing this. Yeah.
Hey, can I?
Yeah.
Can I also say, usually I'm the one that's kind of like engineering our podcast. So this has been the first podcast I've ever done where I'm not stressing anything.
Sure.
Where I'm not just sitting around going, I hope the audio's okay.
You guys should come back. Maybe we should do this like once a month or
We
something.
Yeah.
will, because this has been great. We're at Garden Groove
Yes.
Studios, right? In East Nashville, Tennessee. Hunt them out, knock on the front door. Taylor will answer. if you just need like an impromptu.
I love it, man. I try to come here at least
This is
four times a
amazing.
month.
This is awesome. It's nice and quaint and just awesome and we're just it's I don't know, it's really cool.
It's great.
In a little spot right here.
I can't wait, man. I've been looking forward to this one too because you know I'm not the one interviewing, so it's fun. So appreciate it.
Yeah.
What you have? One last thing, and get back to your serious mode real quick.
Okay, go ahead, be serious, Scott.
You are creative, you're driven, you're independent. What is that common thread that ties all your things together?
I think it's easy. Just being consistent.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're just always doing it. You got to take it as a job because sometimes you can go like, well, I made a lot of money today. And like, I guess I could take a week off. No, you never should. You know, you just got to just keep doing stuff because social media, people don't think both Boones aren't doing shit unless I'm posting.
Right.
It's so stupid. We can be killing it, but if I post, man, awesome, dude. You
Right.
know? So just being consistent, and social media is a huge part of it. I try to, my buddy Lewis, Rebel Tucker, I mentioned earlier, we talked about once. It's like I literally roll over in bed, get my phone, and I start posting immediately, and then I get it done with. I try to in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start seeing results from it. Like some other bar picked up Boone's the other day because I followed them and I posted something. Goes, hey, we just picked it up, So just being consistent.
Well, let it be known that Tyler Boone is actually doing his own social media.
That's right. He is
and I know
the
this
man.
because the reason I met you is I think I had texted, DM'd the Instagram account originally, and it was you that responded.
Yeah.
And here we are today.
I had a guy on LinkedIn yesterday hit me up. We connected, and he goes, "This is the actual Tyler?" I go, "Yeah, dude." Like, what? And he goes, "Oh, okay, cool. Let's talk." I think people think there's like bots responding, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So, especially for bigger artists. I'm not a big artist, so you have to do it all, man. You know what I mean? Well, the other guy yesterday, Dylan Weldon, he's like 1 million followers all across platforms. He goes, "I do it all by myself." You know what I mean? Also, too, you don't want to hire someone $1,000 a month to do it for you. It's a waste of money.
Look, we're nowhere near, but we got our humble little thing. But we do every single thing ourselves. Anything you see, good or bad, is us.
Yeah.
There's nobody else involved.
Well, I just say if you be consistent, in a year from now, you guys will probably, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, okay, man, that's just for rebouncing. What's your goal with your pod?
We would honestly, it would, like you said, I would like to have some revenue.
Yeah.
Sure.
Some it doesn't have to be big, just some form of stream of revenue, whether it be a sponsorship. We've done a few things where we've asked some people. We got to build on that, but some sponsorship. Maybe sponsor a trip, like a Cincinnati trip. Maybe sponsor that trip.
And I think the thing that you
something like that.
And not to interrupt, I think the thing that you had also said was consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, we put out, usually a podcast a week. We try to be consistent. We try to have good content.
Sure.
And I think the thing that we've tried to be consistent about is we try to be a champion for what we do representing the craft beer community.
Sure.
And we don't crap on breweries. We don't crap on beer. I mean, we might say, we drank that beer, not our thing, but, it's subjective, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And so we just try to be out there championing everybody.
I think maybe what you could maybe do is like, once you guys get your platform bigger and get some more subscribers, you can leverage it and go, hey, you got this big thing on Saturday, like how the breweries have that shit on Saturday with like live music and all this fun stuff. Go, we'll come out and do it live, pay us $150.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just something simple. And they go,
Just to
screw
get-
it, we got a podcast out there.
Yeah.
And that's what my buddy Box, who was a DJ guy back in the day, that's what he did. He used to call it Box and something. I can't remember the name of it, but he would go with his podcast live, like a radio thing. We have like the table and the tent.
Yeah,
And he would go live and he would get paid like $200 just be at a brewery.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't got paid for it, but we've gotten invitations, and we got more coming to come out and do it, and we'll give you tickets for the thing for free
Sure.
and come out and do it. So that's kind of a step in
Sure.
that direction. So
Well, let's keep collabing, man.
we're fans of yours, obviously, and
thanks
thanks
so much.
for doing this in our stupid little podcast that
No,
we
man.
have. But no, this was great. Thanks for this introducing us to Taylor,
Taylor, thanks for
having
Taylor.
us here. Taylor, thanks for having us and staying late. And
I got the second hour. So.
the second.
Cheers.
Anyway, cheers.
Guys, thank you.
Tyler Boone,
Yep.
Taylor over here.
Say your podcast name one more time.
Brewery Underground Podcast.
Brewery Underground
yeah.
Podcast.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
At the Garden Groove
Yep.
Studio in
Cheers.
East
With
Nashville.
our good friend, singer-songwriter,
Tyler Boone.
Cheers.
entrepreneur,
All that
Cheers.
shit.
all of it. Tyler Boone.
Let's finish.
Cheers.
Let's finish this bottle of whiskey.
You're cool. Boom.
All right.
Cut. Whew.